Coverage of SEC Media Days is presented by First Security Bank. Bank better at First Security. And brought to you in part by UAMS and Kaufman by Design West.
Well, obviously, once you know what to expect, it gets easier. I'll be honest with you, I'm still nervous about going in the big room. Um, um, I don't know why. I mean, I interview all the time, but I mean, they grade you and all that kind of stuff. You don't want to be last. If I can get close to the bottom but not last, I'll be okay. I'll be honest with you, coming on the plane, it's just an honor. I'm the head coach at Arkansas. They're flying us in a private plane. I'm around KJ and Rocket and Landon Jackson, and I'm the head coach at Arkansas. It's a really, really neat deal, and I'm very honored to be a part of y'all's day, Media Day.
All right. We are honored to be a part of it, too. We are all over the place down in Nashville. We have got a handful of guys working, and we are going to hear from Sam Pittman live in just a bit here on the SEC Network. We will carry that on the air today, and Trey Schapp's already been running around and getting sound with Coach Pittman and also KJ Jefferson. We got a few other items to get to today, as you might imagine. We'll talk to Michael Felder about his impressions from Media Day, get his thoughts on the A&M conversation from earlier in the week, and then also his expectations for Arkansas. Zach Gillum's going to join us in a little bit as well. 10:45, we'll talk to him from Oaklawn Racing Casino Resort from the sports book and get some odds, props, and overall win potentials for Open Championship participants this week and whatever else he wants to get into. I'm sure we can get updates on Major League Baseball among them. Kevin Kelly's going to be in, thanks to Little Rock Athletic Club, and we will talk to Coach about what's going on at SEC Media Days. And there are some rule changes also that were talked about this week that we're going to get into with him, get his thoughts on that. Relu Allen's coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. Talk to him about the Great Arkansas Beer Festival, which is this Saturday. If you've not bought your tickets yet, there are links at 1037thebuzz.com, and I strongly encourage, if you like beer or margaritas or really any kind of adult beverage, it is the place to be. There will be thousands of folks in the convention center, but plenty of room to spare, and it will be a perfect thing to do on a hot night. And if you were heading over to the Chicks at Simmons on Saturday night, it'd be a good pregame, I think. Michael Felder, I mentioned already, and then we've got some special guests coming up to talk about the Ronald McDonald House, which is the beneficiary of the Great Arkansas Beer Festival and the Rock City Margarita Festival. So there you go. Table set. Let's rock and roll. Head down to Nashville, check in with Trey Schapp, who has been all over it. And Trey, this is the day that Razorback fans have been waiting for. Get to hear from the head hog and a few of the key cogs for the Razorback football team this year.
Yeah, Landon Jackson, Rocket Sanders, and, of course, KJ Jefferson for the second year in a row makes his way to SEC Football Media Days.
And it has been it's interesting because we talked about kind of the dearth of quarterbacks this year. It's a pretty low number overall considering what a key position that is. But I heard John had a guest on earlier this week, and they were talking about how they feel like that might actually be a position of strength. There are some guys who maybe are a little bit under the radar that, could have big years. And we're all waiting to see, what it looks like at Alabama and Georgia with them still adjusting to having some really good tenured guys at that position. And, of course, KJ's among the guys that will be thought of at the top of the heap, I would think, in the quarterback race. And but we'll see. That's obviously a huge key for everybody. And there will be some guys that we know a little bit and some guys we don't know so much, but we will by the end of the year.
Yeah, I think Joe Milton at Tennessee is one that you're really going to see a lot of and a lot about. Spencer Rattler over at South Carolina. He played his first year at South Carolina last year, the transfer from Oklahoma. What does he do this year? Does he continue to impress? He started all 13 games last year with the Gamecocks, 8-5 record for them. And then I think KJ and Will Rogers are two quarterbacks that I think are going to have better years than maybe some expect. And maybe not so much Will Rogers because we don't know how that offense is really going to look without Mike Leach there for an entire year.
Right.
But I think KJ, and if he can stay healthy, and Tom Murphy asked the question, if he can stay healthy this year, I think he's got a chance to be there when it's all said and done at the end of the season.
Put my body through a lot. I mean, I put my body through so much in this off season, just so when the season do come, I'm already prepared for the beatings and the bruises and everything. So just being able to just take this off season it just you might well say I just put my body through a gauntlet. I mean, the main thing is just going in, just also taking care of my body as well, getting treatment, massages, different things, ice tubs, stuff like that. But also knowing that this upcoming season, I got to have a big season for my teammates and for myself as well. So
yeah, big season from him includes staying on the field all year long. Although I think we
Yeah.
can all agree there's a consensus that Arkansas fans feel much better about the backup situation. And I love Jacoby Criswell, and he is, I think, the quarterback of the future at Arkansas. But I think we can all agree that we'd like to see KJ on the field all 12 games this year.
No doubt.
Or more.
No doubt about it.
Maybe
Yeah.
13, maybe
13,
14.
maybe more.
Yeah, who knows?
And maybe.
Yep. Well, as far as
get to 15.
yeah, maybe so. I mean, 14 is the key number when you talk about the league, at least for now. And KJ also talked about the rankings of the quarterbacks, and I think he would probably agree. There's some talented guys maybe we're not talking about.
I mean, I try not to focus on the rankings too much. I mean, I just want to go out there and put my team in the best position to win, and also just perfect my craft and do what I can do to make sure I'm leading the right way, but being vocal, make sure I'm that extensive coach on the field. So just being able to just come out each and every day and just grind and work, and also just bring my teammates along.
Is it a motivator for you if you're not where you think you should be?
It was. I definitely use it as motivation. I mean, my mom, family members always send me the rankings and also tell me, like, hey, I always remember, like, each and every day you step out there on the field or you in the weight room, I always had this in the back of your mind that's going to push you and make you work harder.
Okay, so he doesn't think about it and doesn't pay attention to it, but he's also focused on it when people tell him about it. Okay. I think we got a little bit of a BS story off the top there, but I think he should be paying attention to that. Anything you can use as a chip on your shoulder, I would think at this point in the year is probably a good thing.
Right. Yeah. And look, things happen in a season, and there are things that Dan Enos might be able to bring out of him to focus on to help him get better that maybe Kendall Briles didn't do. And he's got a new offensive coordinator this year that they're building that relationship now. And I think that KJ, when you look at him and what this means, how he plays this year, as he said earlier, to help for the team, Justin, but also for himself. That means next season potentially in the NFL, I think.
Yeah. I think the pro potential or the pro benefit of working with an additional or a different offensive coordinator is probably good for him. Hopefully, there's not a lack of continuity, I guess, in the efficiency of the offense, but maybe we'll see some new things and maybe, again, everybody's looking for a little more efficiency in the red zone where Arkansas struggled last year. KJ talked today about working with Coach Enos.
It's been very fun. I mean, it's been eventful as well. I mean, just being able to just pick his brain a little bit, and then also just him being here and then he coming back here just go to show that he really loves the state of Arkansas, and he's always willing to work with quarterbacks like myself, and he just loved the game. So, I mean, just going in, just being able to just, like I said, be a sponge and soak up all the knowledge. Quarterback is a very detailed position, so just being able to just pinpoint different things that I'm doing that can help me become more accurate footwork-wise, just small details in my game that can help me prepare for the next level. So I would say just detail. He's very detail-oriented.
So Arkansas is up early here today. Again, we're going to carry Coach Pittman's comments to the media here in just a bit. It will be on the SEC Network if you're looking to watch it. But if you're trying to pretend like you're working at work today or if you're traveling around, we've got the answer for you. Just stay tuned here to 103.7 The Buzz, and we'll get you squared away. Nick Saban in Alabama also on the hot seat early today. And then in the afternoon session, it's Florida and Kentucky. Billy Napier looking to take a big step forward this year. Trey, and then Mark Stoops in Kentucky trying to get to, where they've been before, which I think in most people's opinions, he has surpassed expectations at Kentucky from the day he walked in there. I mean, I've made a couple of dumb predictions over the years. Eli Manning will never win a Super Bowl, which he didn't. He won 2. I said that that Mark Stoops would never make it to a bowl game. I'm an idiot. And then I also predicted earlier this week, here's a recency one, that Barbie would lose to Oppenheimer. And the odds are so overwhelming on Barbie burying Oppenheimer at the theater this weekend. Christian, it's not even worth conversation.
I think I saw it was projected to make like 110 million, where Oppenheimer was projected to make 49 or something.
Okay.
Like that.
Well, you're right. I'm wrong.
Wow.
I'm dumb. You're smart. You're very good looking. I'm not
Now,
attractive.
I will go see Oppenheimer instead of Barbie.
Same.
Personally.
I agree. You are not normal as the American public goes, though. You are next level. But I'm with you. I would see Oppenheimer way ahead of Barbie as well. Anyway, Trey, are you going to see either one of those movies?
No, I'm going to watch the Cubs and the Cardinals.
In
Chicago.
Nice. Today is National Hot Dog Day. Speaking of, that dovetailed nicely. If you can only have one condiment,
Chicago dog.
I had one recently while I was up there. If you can only have one condiment on your hot dog, what's it going to be?
You're going to kill me.
It sounds like you're a big fan of this condiment. I heard you talking about it last night.
Yeah, ketchup.
Okay, you're not
Hey,
alone.
that's me.
That's fine. Listen, I'm over trying to talk people out.
I'm not a mustard relish guy. I'm just not.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I would do over ketchup is if I'm only doing one condiment, like doing just a straight chili dog would be fire. Does that count?
Yeah, I guess.
guess, but
chili
chili
a
does have
condiment?
quite a few things in it.
Sure does.
Yeah. So I don't think that counts. Does it, Christian?
I don't know. I mean, chicken noodle soup has a lot of things in it, but I ain't putting it on a hot dog. I don't know why chili's got to be ostracized just because it's got stuff in
But
it.
then if you do a chili dog, I mean, do you cheese?
Yeah, I mean, I want to put other things on it, but if I'm picking one thing to put on there, I would probably go mustard first. Second choice would be I'll take chili over relish if I'm doing one thing, and ketchup's going to come in last. But again, to each their own.
I just got a gross text when I said ketchup on a hot dog.
I bet you did.
Our other question of the day is, what is your favorite hot dog brand?
Yep.
And we put Oscar Mayer, Nathan's, Ballpark, or Petty Jean.
Yep.
On that one.
And they're all good in their own right. I grew up eating Oscar Mayer, but I don't ever buy it anymore. I'm a Ballpark or the Petty Jean's there. I'll eat them, but more I guess readily available. You're gonna.
I like Nathan.
The Nathan's dogs that they've got over at the Ballpark at the Travs games. They're pretty darn good.
Where is the best place to eat a hot dog though? At a ballpark?
Has to be. I never order hot dogs when I go anywhere.
I don't
Well, what about no? Yeah, it's
Like
funny.
even Sonic, I don't.
Yeah, we talked about that, or I was reading a story about that today. How more restaurants don't have them. I mean, kids love them, and they're easy.
Buffalo Grill probably has the best one in Little Rock.
I didn't know they had one.
Yeah,
I don't
get a chili dog there.
I don't hardly ever go there, but I should. It sounds pretty good. Maybe today I'll do that. I would say the majority of the time if I'm eating a hot dog, it's at a barbecue.
Gotcha.
And it's as a
Yeah,
sidebar. It's
I'm
a
probably-
secondary thing. Like I'll get a burger early and then I'll do a dog late.
If I'm eating a hot dog, I've probably made the hot dog on a grill.
Yes, that's a great point. Same. Or I'm at an event where it's happening. Trey, I mean this with all due respect. I really do. You are kind of the rule nerd on the station. And there was a conversation yesterday about rules, and the SEC coordinator of officials, John McDade, addressed a rule change impacting the game this fall, which, we talked about not stopping the clock after first downs. And as someone who calls games, I'm meant to get used to that change. They're only going to stop it in the last 2 minutes of each half, or if the ball carrier goes out of bounds, which is also the way the NFL does it right now.
Right.
Also, they are no longer going to be able to use multiple timeouts to ice a kicker, which I think is great because that's annoying. And also the old untimed down after an accepted penalty to end the first or third quarters will not take place. Instead, the penalty yardage will be marked off, and the next play will start the second or fourth quarters. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And back to if you go out of bounds, though, Justin, yes, that stops the clock, but it's going to start on the ready for play and not the snap like
Right.
it would under 2 minutes
Okay.
in the second and fourth quarters.
Gotcha. Good. Also, they talked about, and I think this is a really good rule change, honestly, the punt deal where,
Yes.
for example, if the ball is snapped over the punter's head and he runs it down and then he's able to get the punt away and then he gets hit by a defender, that was a roughing or
running
into the punter, yes. Now that's no longer the case. So he has to kick the ball away within 5 yards of where he's positioned initially. So I think that's a great rule change, honestly.
Yeah, yesterday he showed video of the Kentucky-Missouri game where the ball went over the Kentucky punter's head and it rolled almost inside the 5-yard line. I think the line of scrimmage was somewhere around the 35 or so, and the punter picked up the ball, turned, kicked, and then was hit by the Missouri defender, and the referee threw the flag. And he said, I asked the referee, why did you throw the flag there? And he said he wasn't a runner. He was still trying to kick the motion, and the defender did not try and block it. He was going to take the guy out, and he didn't even get a hand on it. So he said, okay, I like your decision-making there, but now that would not be a flag because it went 5 yards past where the original punter stood to catch the snap. And we've always had the tackle box. Outside the tackle box,
Right.
Once they get outside of there for the rugby-style punters and stuff, they were live. But he did say there could be unnecessary roughness on a play like that, and you could also still have targeting.
Okay, that makes sense. Other thing, SEC related but not directly to football, Paul Skeens has signed apparently with Pittsburgh, a $9.2 million signing bonus, the highest ever for a drafted player,
Wow.
topping the $8.416 million previously for first baseman Spencer Torkelson, the top pick in 2021. How about that? Good for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he is setting the
Yeah.
bar. I mean, that's almost $1 million more. It's 800,000 more than the previous high. That's remarkable. Good for him.
Paul Skeens, man, he's got an arm.
He does
can
have
throw
that.
it.
He's got two.
Yeah.
Only one.
He does have two, but he only needs one.
Only one throws fireballs. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Trey, we're going to take a break a little bit early here. What,
guys.
What else is going on today besides the four teams appearing?
Just a lot of work, and of course Saban going right now. So this afternoon, if you follow Buzz social media, we'll have some upload videos of Nick Saban, Sam Pittman, obviously, all three Razorbacks that are here: Landon Jackson, Rocket Sanders, and KJ Jefferson. It's just going to take us a while to get that stuff downloaded and then uploaded. So be patient with us, but we're all over SEC football media days today, and I'm about to head in and listen to Sam Pittman, and I'm going to ask him about the fact, how does he feel about his quarterback room, knowing that there might be a good, solid backup there now?
Ask him about his unproven tackles and what kind of impact he thinks that'll have, because that's what I want to know about. We've been talking about that a little bit up here.
I'll write that down too.
I think that's a bigger question mark than the receivers, because even though the receivers are somewhat unproven, I feel very good about the potential there. We've got some real question marks about the line, so let's see what he thinks about that. I'm sure he's very much focused on it from his past.
All righty.
All right, very good. Trey Schapp, good stuff, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah, guys.
All right, that's Trey Schapp down at SEC Media Days in Nashville, or over, I should say, I guess. Thanks to First Security Bank again, longtime sponsor of the coverage. It is great stuff. We love it here. We just can't get enough of it. And also want to thank Coffin by Design West and UAMS Health for sponsoring the coverage this year. And we've got Sam Pittman coming up in the very, very near future, and they are already teasing it on the SEC Network. So we're going to steal a little bit from our friends there. We've got more from Sam's comments earlier in the day as well. You already heard from KJ Jefferson. Looking forward to hearing from Rocket Sanders as well, and Landon Jackson also joining Coach Pittman down in Nashville.
Coverage of SEC Media Days is presented by First Security Bank. Bank better at First Security. And brought to you in part by UAMS and Kaufman by Design West.
Sam Pittman heading to the podium in mere moments, and we will carry that live here on The Buzz, courtesy of our friends at the SEC Network. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at Max Prairie Wings down in Stuttgart. It's a great time to get out on the water if you haven't noticed. I don't know where else you'd want to be in 100-degree heat, but the water's the spot. So get out on the water with the help of our friends at Max Prairie Wings and maybe do a little fishing right now. They occasionally jump in and take a dip while you're at it. The team at Max Prairie Wings in Stuttgart ready to help you out. They are your Tohatsu outboard dealer. Tohatsu outboards affordably priced and backed by a 5-year warranty. Max, of course, offering competitive prices, as you would expect. They also have great in-house financing. Got a great service center also with certified Tohatsu technicians. So whatever you need to get out on the water or have a little fun in the summertime, fishing rods to guns, casual summer clothing, and a new Tohatsu outboard. All the things you need right there at Max Prairie Wings. They've got a great website as well. It's maxpw.com, and you can see all the items they have to offer, whether it's something for boating specific or just something for summer fun or something that's not related to either one. But a huge selection. So many different brands, so many different products. It's Max Prairie Wings in Stuttgart. But go by and see our friends down there. Or go to their website, maxpw.com. All right, Sam Pittman coming up shortly. And, Christian, big conversation the last couple of days around the NFL with the devaluing of the running back. And it's unfortunate for guys who certainly deserve to get paid, but there is just not a lot of value in that. We talked about it sort of a little bit over the years, but it is really becoming apparent when you got guys like Saquon Barkley and last year's leading rusher who are not getting paid in a way that we would anticipate for a guy that is such a critical piece of an offense.
It sucks for running backs, but it's basically just the honest truth. There's no point in paying them beyond their first contract.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's such a high level or high record, I guess, of injuries, and it's such a tough position to play from a physical standpoint, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, that's been the biggest thing is Saquon Barkley's kind of hung out to dry, and Josh Jacobs in the same boat, and I guess Josh is playing on a franchise tag.
I think, was he tagged?
I thought
I'm not
so.
sure. I think Le'Veon Bell kind of set running backs back a lot because he set out that entire year, if you remember, and then he got the huge contract from the Jets, and he wasn't good anymore.
Todd Gurley was one that was mentioned too, the contract he got with the Rams that and unfortunately couldn't play up to it because of the injury issues.
There's just not a reason when, Saquon Barkley's great. You can pay a guy a fourth of what he's making. He can do 80% of what Saquon Barkley does.
Story I'm reading here. It says the Raiders placed the franchise tag on Jacobs March 6th, which means he'd play on a $10.1 million deal this season, which, by the way, is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah.
Veterans Report, July 25th. Jacobs, who led the league with 1,653 yards last year, has been clear about his position all along, even saying at one point he would be a hero turned villain if forced to play under the tag. So we'll see what he decides to do.
It does suck because they get into the league. They're usually 22, 21, and then they play 4 years, 5 if they're drafted in the first round, and then you get a franchise tag. So you're either playing 5 or 6 years, and by that time, your body is almost already worn down.
Right. Yeah, it's a bad deal, but you can't say that it's not an important role. I mean, the guy had 1,600 yards last year.
But then you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, and they drafted a guy in the 7th round, Isaiah Pacheco, and he's good.
Right, exactly. Well, we've seen, for a long time, the Patriots have been doing with lower level or cast-off running backs. I mean, there are a lot of organizations that have been fine with that. But here's an interesting stat. Only 3 Super Bowl champions in the past 15 years had a 1,000-yard rusher. 3 in 15 years. Before that, 11 of the last 15 before that had a 1,000-yard rusher. So again, that position and that role in the offense has been devalued because of the passing attacks. Greg Sankey's at the podium. Sam Pittman will be up directly behind him. So let's head to Nashville and hear from the commish, followed by the coach, Sam Pittman.
That game ended in a thrilling triple overtime victory. Plenty of questions during parts of that game, particularly the end, but it was a 55-53 victory over Kansas in that exciting AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
Can you pull that up in there? Because it's way low in here.
NFL draft since 2013, including
Thank you.
6 first-round picks. He played defensive end at Pittsburgh State and was a first-team NAIA All-American and twice earned all-conference recognition, earned his bachelor's degree in education back in 1986 and was inducted into the Pittsburgh State Athletics Hall of Fame in 1998. He also, as a senior at Grove High School, won the Class 3A State Shot Put Championship. University of Arkansas Razorbacks head football coach Sam Pittman.
Good afternoon, everybody. So my dad, I won that state championship in shot put, and my dad had a subtle way of saying, "Hey, son, why don't you stay down and watch the 6A throw?" I did. I wouldn't have made the finals. You know what I mean? Parents sometimes have a way of being nice to you. Congratulations, but you're still not very good, you know, that type thing. But Greg, thank you so much for the introduction. The best of the best, William King. When they added David Cutcliffe to this group, enormous benefit for us coaches. Dave's been through all that and a very, very great hire. Very proud to be a part of the state of Arkansas, University of Arkansas, third consecutive top 15 finish in the Directors Cup, a couple of indoor national championships with Bucky and Lance. The basketball team went to Sweet 16. Dave's team had a share of the SEC baseball championship. Today, we brought KJ Jefferson, our quarterback, who's on the verge of setting at least 6-7 records. Great leader for us, wonderful kid. Very proud of him. He is our leader. He's our leader both on the offense and the defense. Obviously, on one side of the ball, a lot of times you'll have leaders that are on that side of the ball. KJ is our team leader, and we're awful happy that he is. We brought Rocket Sanders, our running back, rushed for over 1,400 yards last year. The one thing I'll say about Rocket is he's never been in trouble. Class-wise, all his tutors, all the teachers love him. We do too. Gained another 10 pounds, is running faster than he ever has had a great offseason. Then Landon Jackson, you'll see him. He went from 236 at the end of last year to 280, running over 20 miles per hour. By the way, a nugget there, him and Grace, his fiance just got engaged a week or two ago. Last year, we were invited to our third consecutive postseason bowl. Obviously, my first year, we weren't able to play the Texas Bowl because TCU had COVID problems. We've won 2 straight in a row. Last year's game against Kansas, it changed a lot for our program. At the end of the season last year, we had a lot of guys in the portal. We had coaches that left. And for us to go to Kansas with to go to the Liberty Bowl, which was a great venue, and win that game with 9 starters out, it showed a lot about, people were concerned about what's going on with the program. Well, what's the Liberty Bowl? We've got 9 guys that are out, and we win the game against a very good opponent. We have to get some things fixed. I think we've had a good off season. We lost 4 games last year by 9 points, ended up winning 7 games. We've got a lot of situational football to get fixed. We've worked on it. I've worked on myself. I won't go for it on fourth down very often. So I have to work on it to see if we can get it a little bit more in practice. At the same time, we're helping the defense. The analytics certainly has changed football. I've got to get into it a little bit more than what I have in the past. But we have situational football. But our program is built on toughness, physicality, the ability to be coached, the ability to be loyal to each other. And I feel like our team is that way. We have 2 new coordinators, and I'm proud I was proud, I said it last year. We had one of 8 schools that had both coordinators back last year. We lost Barry Odom, a great friend of mine, got the head coaching job at UNLV, will do an outstanding job there. We lost Kendall Briles. Kendall Briles, we just came off a season of 6,000 plus yards, one of only 3 times that's ever happened in the University of Arkansas history to TCU. Very grateful, very thankful for those 2 guys and what they did for us. However, they left, and now we need to replace, which we have. I want to talk to you about Dan Enos, our offensive coordinator. We were together in 2015. One of those 3 6,000 plus seasons was when he was with us at Arkansas then. Travis Williams, we went to UCF to get him as our new defensive coordinator. I interviewed 4 or 5 guys when I got done with him. Called Hunter Yurachek and told him this is the guy. In the portal world and the coaching world, he's very aggressive. And I knew in the portal world, if we lost somebody, we could dang sure replace them. And Travis was he's a great man, very positive guy, really good coach. We went to Florida State and got Marcus Woodson as our defensive backfield coach, co-defensive coordinator. Darren Wilson was an analyst at Florida coaching our corners, and Morgan Turner has had 8 to 9 guys play in the NFL when he was a tight end coach at Stanford, and we were able to get him from Stanford. One of the key cogs to us was getting Ben Souders from Louisville. Ben is our new strength coach. He's done an outstanding job with these kids. Holds them accountable. You'll see the 3 that we brought. We got a whole bunch of guys that look like that, and that's credit to Ben Souders and his staff. We obviously have a challenging schedule. I think last year somebody told me we played 7 teams in the top 25. Well, that's the SEC. And we're excited about that. This year, our crossover games, we go to Florida. I don't believe we've ever won at Florida. We have Missouri at home, and then we have a non-conference schedule. We're excited to get BYU again. Kalani Sitake is an outstanding coach, and we're excited to get BYU playing here as we played them down there last year. 14 returning starters, 4 on offense, 7 on defense, and our 3 specialists. Brady Latham, Bo Lemmer are both catalysts to our offensive line. We're going to need them. We've moved Bo Lemmer to center to help us in that aspect. Eric Gregory, Nudie McLarkin, Hudson Clark, those guys have played a lot of ball for us on defense. And, of course, Eli Stein and Max Fletcher and Cam Little at the specialists. Roster additions, we had 21 high school scholarships addition, 12 of that 21 came in January. 9 of them came in this late May. 19 additions from the portal. We addressed every problem that we felt like we had, whether that be starting or whether that be depth-wise, except the only position that we did not replace in the portal was running back. We're expecting all those guys to contribute to us. I'm looking forward to year 2023, being the head coach of the University of Arkansas. I'm looking forward to my 4th year being the head coach at Arkansas. Congratulations to the media. It's your day. Congratulations. I want to thank you all nationally for the kind things you've done for our program. This is what it's for you guys to sell and help us sell our story. And we appreciate you so much. I'm really indebted to the guys from Arkansas and all the things that you do for me and for the university and for the football program. With that, I'll take questions.
Thank you, Coach Pittman. If you have a question, raise your hand. Pam, Aaron, and Asher will have microphones. We'll start right in front of me, Coach. Second row right here in the middle with Tom.
Hey, Tom Murphy, Arkansas Democrat Gazette. You just mentioned the number of players you got out of the portal, a lot of them on defense.
Yeah.
And Brian Kelly was here saying when you get that many guys from the portal, you really don't know what you got. What gives you confidence that the guys you brought in are going to work and that defense will be better this season?
Well, I think, first of all, the guys that we have on our team, I think, are better. You know, they've improved. They've improved their strength and their speed and those things. Some of those times we've seen in spring ball, you know, I think 9 of them are not, you know, they're new. Those, I don't know, I'm not speaking for Coach, but I'm assuming that's what he's talking about a little bit more, the brand new ones that came in June and those things. You really don't know. You don't have a clue. But for that part of it, you're looking for some depth. And man, if somebody will come in and able to start from that group, boy, you've really hit the jackpot. So I agree with Coach on that. How we're going to be better on defense, I think we're going to be better on the D line. And I think that's going to help us. We're going to be able to play a 4-man front. I think we'll be a little more aggressive. We've always been trying to get man-to-man cover corners, and I think between Snacks and Nudie and Day and Braxton and some of those guys, I think we're going to have an opportunity to play a little bit more man, which will allow us to be a little more aggressive and move that front. Moving the front helps you in the run game as much as it does in the pass game, and I think, well, we've got to do that a little bit more than what we have in the past.
Coach, we'll stay in this middle section to your right, just on the aisle. Trey.
Hey, Coach. Trey Biddy, Hog Sports, 24/7 Sports. Kind of a similar question about the portal. When you look back at when you were hired, the 2020 class, you had such a quick turnaround. You fast forward today, there's only 2 players left from that class, guys that should be redshirt juniors and seniors. 2021, you weren't able to face-to-face recruit, had some misevaluations there. I'm curious, have you ever thought like how much trouble you might be in now if not for the transfer portal, and how thankful are you that it came along kind of when it did with transfer portal and NIL?
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, though, Trey, I think part of the transfer portal is the guys. You know what I mean? We have 2, but that's because some guys left and this, that. Now, I'll tell you what, I learned my lesson a couple of years ago because we were talking about who could we afford to lose, you know, if we lost some guys, and then we need some scholarships, all that kind of stuff. Not running them out of the program. We talked about and I learned my lesson. I went this spring and I said, hey, I don't want nobody to leave. I don't want anybody on the team to leave. If you think about it, your worst player might be friends with your best player, and you're running his best friend out. You not only lost the worst player on the team, you lost the best player on the team. So we're not trying to lose anybody off the team, but to answer your question, I think the portal has benefited us, if that makes sense. I do think the window is way too long. I think we're trying to address that as coaches, as NCAA, as an SEC group. But I do think it has benefited us. And the only way things are going to benefit you is if you look at the situation and go, okay, this is the cards dealt. How can we have the best results out of these? And I think our coaching staff's done a nice job of replacing.
Coach, we'll go right down this middle aisle, right here on the near side.
Hi, Coach. Clark Brooks, On 3 and SEC StatCat.
Garth Brooks?
Clark Brooks, C-L-A-R-K. I get it all the time.
Well, no, I just thought it was. I was getting ready to get your autograph.
Well, Coach Briles has helped lead your offense to lead the conference in explosive play rate each of the last 2 years. You have 40 more by volume than the next closest conference offense. I wouldn't necessarily categorize Dan Enos's offenses at Maryland as potent. Was that a sign that you're trying to trade a little bit more consistency for potency, or are you still confident you can still be the SEC's best at capturing big plays?
Was that a question?
Yes, sir.
Well, I hired Dan Enos because I think he's a hell of a football coach. So, and I get where you're talking about, but Dan wasn't dealt the same players that we have on our team either. So that's yet to be seen. I hired Dan Enos because I thought he was the best play caller I've ever worked with. And I felt like that's what we need. But you're right, explosive plays score points, and so would that be a concern? Not necessarily a concern, but we're certainly think about that all the time.
Coach will go right in front of me in the front row. Teresa.
To your left, Coach. Hi, Teresa
ma'am.
Walker, the Associated Press. You mentioned the portal having benefited from it, but it being maybe a little bit too long. Are there any other ways that maybe the transfer portal can be, any other ideas to tighten it, fix it, make it more effective to everybody?
Well, I believe that kids already know if they want to transfer. I think they know. I mean, it's like a house coming soon for sale. Now on Twitter, it's I'm getting ready to go in the transfer portal because the rules say you can't talk to them all this. So they're letting the world know they're getting ready to. I think they already know. I think a week is plenty of time. It's going to be a lot better for roster management. It's going to allow us to, if a guy goes in the portal, allow us to go back to high school and recruit. Right now, it's very, very hard if you lose a guy in the portal not to go replace him with a portal guy. So I think closing that window down somewhat. If I'm a grad transfer, and I've transferred once as a grad transfer, to me, that's plenty. To me, you can't go transfer again. Some of those things I think would help roster management. Part of NIL problem comes with the ability to transfer. And if we close that window down, maybe some of the financial things that you're hearing in NIL might become more true than maybe just words.
Coach, we'll go back over to this middle section on the right-hand side, about 4 rows back.
Coach Travis Gailey with OrangeBloods.com. I'm curious if you've heard what you're hearing from fans and boosters about the addition of Texas coming back to the SEC and renewing this rivalry.
Well, I think obviously the state of Arkansas is ecstatic about, have an opportunity to play Texas, and for that matter, Oklahoma. Proximity is so good. It's so good for us. And, it's not going to be this costly on fans because they can drive back and forth to Norman and to Austin. But I think everybody's really excited about that. Obviously, we're bringing 2 powerful storied programs into the SEC. So we know they're going to be really great opponents, but I think everybody's excited. I'm excited. I'm from Oklahoma, grew up a Sooner fan until I moved out to Eastern Oklahoma, became a Hog fan. But I think it would be a great deal for the SEC and specifically Texas because of the old Southwest Conference rivalry.
Coach, we'll go back over here to our left side on the aisle. Trey
Schaap, Buzz Radio Network. Coach, how do you feel about your offensive line, specifically the tackle position, and then the depth now that you have in the quarterback room?
Well, at tackle, we have talented tackles. Devin Manuel and Patrick Kudus. We like those guys. We like Tykees Crawford. We like Andrew Chambly. And Marion Harris could go out there and play. They are not guys that's proven on a Saturday afternoon yet. Are they talented? Yes. And I've been an O-line coach forever. I've got one of the best offensive line coaches out there in Cody Kennedy. But these guys are really good players. I know they can play. They just haven't yet because we've had the luxury of having older guys on the team and even sixth-year guys, super seniors, that have kept them off the field. But I think it's about time they go out there and show what they're going to do, and I have no doubt. I feel really good about that.
Coach, we'll go back down the center aisle, about halfway back.
Hey, Sam, it's Anthony Dasher of UJSports.com. Kind of go back to Ben Souter just a little bit. You guys were at Georgia together, obviously, for a few years. Was there anything during that time that you kind of caught your eye with him? And the second question, you added Jaheim Singletary to your program as well. What do you expect him to bring this season?
Jaheim's a little bit like what we talked about because we haven't had an opportunity to see him as much. We didn't have spring ball with him. So we'll see. Obviously, we took him because we thought he could be an outstanding player for us. What we've seen is work ethic and all those things is heading certainly that direction. Ben Souders, I loved him. I liked him as a man. I like his work ethic. I like what he's about. He's a Christian man. I like everything about him. And when we had a turnover there, he was the first and only call that I made.
Go back to this middle section to your right, Coach, again, over on the aisle.
Hey, Sam, Andy Witchery with On3. We know there's alignment between Arkansas and the State House. You've one of the more advantageous state laws nationally. The Knoxville News Sentinel reported that Tennessee actually had their AG step in and cite their NIL law to maybe prevent a bowl ban. What is that like when the State House is supporting the school and there's that alignment legislatively?
Strong. When I talk about the Hog is strong, I must need to talk about the state is strong. Strong. And, we can't say much of anything. We go one side or another publicly for political or anything like that. We can't. We don't have a voice. We get in trouble. But I'm very happy with our university and how they tried to help us, and certainly Congress and the state, the state representatives in University of Arkansas or in the state of Arkansas.
Okay, we'll stay in the middle aisle, about halfway back.
Hey, Sam, Colin Wilson with the Action Network. Travis Williams had one of the most aggressive defenses and finished top 10 in Havoc down at Central Florida. Often sometimes brings 6, 7, 8. Are we going to see a more aggressive Arkansas defense this year?
Well, I imagine we'll see a more aggressive. Well, I don't want to be that aggressive, man. They would cover zero a lot, and I'm watching it. And so when I interviewed him, I said, "Hey, man, I want to go after people, but every now and then, can you leave a guy in the middle of the field back there?" Yeah, I mean. Those type things have turnovers that come. Sometimes you think about, well, what if your corner gets beat and they go score and all that. But I like his thinking. I think his corner is well. What happens? We hit the quarterback and the ball goes up in the air and we get it and go score a touchdown too. So I like that. I have a lot of confidence in him, and we will certainly be more aggressive. That's just his nature and his style.
Coach, we'll go over here to our left on the far side near the aisle.
Coach Eric Bailey with the Tulsa World. Can I ask you just your earliest Oklahoma football memory? And then these schools have only played 3 times since 1926. Do you sense a natural rivalry could develop? The proximity is there. Do you think that'll happen now that they're joining the SEC?
Well, my first memory of Tulsa World is when in 1979, I made the Tulsa World All-State team. That's true. Well, nobody else to give it to. There's like 3 running backs in the state. But did you say Tulsa World?
Oklahoma football memory. You said you were an Oklahoma fan. I was one of your first Oklahoma football memory.
Oh, I got a bunch of them. Brian Bosworth, one of them. And I was a football fan, but one of them was when Arkansas, in 78, OU's got to win a natty or win the game. They win the natty. And then, Arkansas got them 31-6. At that point, I wasn't an Arkansas fan. I was an OU fan, at the time. But, you have Billy Sims. I mean, there's a lot of great memories. We couldn't really afford to go to the game or anything like that, but a lot of great memories. Oklahoma, Barry Switzer, of course, Stoops now, was the next one. And a lot of great memories. Powerful program, great program.
That didn't get answered very well, but that's okay. There's a lot of pressure up there for Sam Pittman. He's handling it well, I would say.
He's coach of Arkansas. You don't want to talk about Oklahoma.
No, I thought that was. I'm like, we're getting in the weeds now. We're talking about a
Yeah.
team that's not even in the league yet. D-line improvement, he says. Going to play some more man, be a little more aggressive. Feels good about the defensive backs, as you would expect. Talked about the portal, wants to shorten the window there. A lot of coaches do. But he talked about how you basically have to go one for one. You lose one, you got to get one. And excited about the tackles on the offensive line, even though they haven't really proven it. He feels good about them. And I think we're going to, certainly look forward to seeing that as well. If he feels good about it, I don't know why we wouldn't.
Coverage of SEC Media Days is presented by First Security Bank. Bank better at First Security. And brought to you in part by UAMS and Kaufman by Design West.
All right, not yet. Just a minute. Red White Report coming up here. We are heading back down to Nashville a little bit later in the show as well. Sam Pittman just addressed the media in the big room, did a great job, and talked about a number of different items. And so we've got a little bit from him as we get going here.
The Red White Report is brought to you by Big O Tires, with locations in Conway on Harkrider and in Cabot on Prospect Court. Big O Tires offers an endless selection of wheel and tire combinations. Big O Tires, they have everything you need to fit your budget and style.
All right. We heard from Coach and got a few items here talking about freshmen, youngsters contributing. We talked a little bit about unproven offensive linemen, or he did today at the podium moments ago. But there's some other young guys maybe that will be contributing. So we'll see what he has to say about that.
I don't know a lot, Trey, about the kids that came in, in late May. That's, you see them and they're running around and you see they got good athletes, whatever. But the guys that were in here in spring, you look at a Jalen Braxton, who I think is going to be a really good player for. TJ Metcalf is another guy that kind of stands out in there. I like the linebacker group, those freshman linebackers. I think all of them. Sanford wasn't here, but obviously the other guys were. And then he probably would be the first guy, if I've had time to think about it, that, yeah, he's special. He's different. And but the guys that would pop off of my brain right just off the quick question.
All right, there you go. Much more coming up from SEC Media Days in a bit. Alabama also featured this morning. And then later today, it is Florida, Kentucky. And tomorrow on the final day, it'll be Ole Miss, South Carolina, Tennessee. Kevin Kelly is here, and we welcome in the coach. What do you say there?
Just glad there's some football talk going on there.
No doubt. It is good. I don't know how significant or meaningful it is, but he did reveal a few things there, Coach did, about kind of their approach this year. We talked about the young offensive lineman. That was one of the things he talked about. And he said he feels good about the guys, but yet they're obviously unproven to the public, and he sees them in practice every day. Also talked about being aggressive defensively, feels good about the defensive line, and feels good about the depth of defensive back, and says we'll see a little more man-to-man. And then talked about the portal, and obviously that's always a big part of the equation right now.
Well, funny, oddly enough, everybody talks about the quarterback situation, receiver situation. We're solid at running back. They like our quarterback situation. You only go as the offensive line goes.
Yeah.
And the only good thing about being young, because we lost some good dudes last year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we lost some really, really good ones, and had one on the show we lost. Luke Jones played for me, left tackle we lost. I mean, those are big losses right there. The good thing is Pittman is known all over in all coaching circles in college. He's known as probably one of the best, if not the best offensive line guy. Now, how much time he's going to spend with them, I'll bet he sees a need to really spend some time with those guys. He'll do a good job, but I'm going to tell you this. It doesn't matter who you've got back there. If your offensive line can't get it done, then you might as well. I mean, it doesn't matter if you've got Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes back there. It's just not going to be any good. So I'm glad to hear him talk about those guys, because I know that's got to be a focal point of his.
Have you seen, did you see much of Andrew Chambly? Were you gone already before he became a thing? Yeah. Coach mentioned him by name, 4-star from Maumelle, and a guy that, he feels like can be part of that equation up front, and guys that, again, are somewhat unproven at that level.
Now, I know who he is because I saw some film on him.
He's also a gigantic human being.
He is a gigantic human being with some great upside. You hate saying upside because that means they haven't gotten as far as you wish they would have potential-wise, but if they can get it out of him, it's nice to have just a large human being, because he gets those arms extended. It's a big radius to get around that guy.
No doubt. We'll get back to some more football talk with Coach here in a second. By the way, Coach now presented by our friends at the Little Rock Athletic Club, and I know you're very appreciative of them. They're about to put on that huge pickleball event, but there's a lot of really cool things happening over at their facilities, and really doing a good job. Appreciate Frank and the support from Little Rock Athletic Club, and we love having you up here. And obviously football season, at least the talking season, has started, so we're glad to have you back, and glad you can continue the segment.
Yeah, me too. I love talking football. I love the show. I mean, you guys get in here and you make it, even when it's, I was talking to somebody a while ago, I was like, hey, you fixing to go to the show? I was like, yeah. And I said, what do y'all talk about in non-sports? So Justin does a good job of leading us down at least fun paths and stuff. But to stay on here, athletic club stepping up, and then they've always been good to my family. We've been members off and on for 15, 17 years or
Right.
whatever. And just really recently joined them back after moving back from South Carolina and Boston. And Frank does a good job down there. Man, they've got something for everybody, whether you want to be a weightlifter or a runner or play basketball or tennis or pickleball, building the pickleball courts. They're building 12 new dedicated pickleball courts inside and out. And they've got something for everybody. And then if you just want to relax by the pool, they've got a great setting for the pool, lifeguards. You can let the kids go. And Frank and Jerry have done a great job down there. And I'm more than appreciative and glad to be sponsored by them and glad to talk about them, because it's easy, just like Bowen and Heffley, but the athletic club, it's easy to talk great about people that you really believe in.
Right.
And I believe in them.
I appreciate that. And we do too. Well, let's get to the Brandon Moving and Storage Hotline, Coach, as we continue on here. And Zach Gillum joining us from the Oaklawn Sportsbook down at Oaklawn Racing Casino Resort. Zach, welcome, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, good morning. Doing great. How about you guys?
Well, we're great. We really wanted to bring you on to talk about the Open Championship and some of the odds there. And obviously, Rory is playing extremely well. I'm going to guess that he is probably the favorite down there at Oaklawn in many books around the country and the world. But I did want to throw you a curveball if I could. I assume there are futures for win totals for college teams on the board at this point.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Looking for Razorbacks. They are currently at 6.5 with the over at -155, the under at +120.
Okay. It's interesting. We were just watching, and ESPN had them listed as they're projecting 6.9 wins for Arkansas. So according to ESPN, that would go over. And so you can make those wagers at Oaklawn, and again, all the teams in the league and around the country, if you've got a good feel for how many wins they might get. I mean, you're typically going to get, in the 11 range for Alabama, Georgia, programs like that. Arkansas and some of these other ones are a little more fun to guess at.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in Arkansas's number, it's been at 6.5 most of the time it's been on the board. The odds on the over indicate that there's a chance that as we get closer to the season, if people keep betting the over, who knows, it might move to 7.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something just to keep an eye on, and that's why you got to log in each day and check those odds.
No doubt. Well, let's talk about the Open Championship for a bit here. And again, Rory coming off the Scottish Open, and previous week's play does not always carry over to the following week, especially when you're grinding to win like he did when you make a birdie on the last 2 holes to get it home and get the job done without having to go to a playoff. But I'm assuming he's your favorite going into the week, or is it someone else?
Yes, he's actually co-favorite. It is McIlroy and Scheffler both at +700. Now, yesterday, McIlroy was solo top choice at +700 with Scheffler at 750. So a little shift in those odds, but don't expect to see him move much from there. In addition to the winner, you can bet on top 5, top 10, top 20, top 30, top 40. So you can go pretty deep there, as well as group betting for the rounds, group betting for the tournament. There's top amateur, the top past champion, which obviously McIlroy is going to be your favorite in that one, being a favorite in top senior, which is an interesting one to look at because I know Podrick Harrington had quite a bit of input on the course redesign. So he is your top choice for that, which is not a surprise. But there's a lot of other markets as well. There's best 18-hole score for the tournament. You can wager on whether or not you think a golfer is going to make the cut.
Yep.
There's tournament props that, really dive into some nitty-gritty stuff, whether it's going to finish in a playoff or going to be a 3-man playoff. Will there be a wire-to-wire winner? So there's a lot of ways to wager on the Open Championship. And then personally, my favorite is I like the head-to-head.
Mm-hmm.
So I like looking at those head-to-head matchups where I'm just picking one golfer versus another golfer.
Yeah, give me some of those. You got some odds on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So looking at some of those, they're typically going to be paired up with who they're playing with in their round. So looking at one, Cameron Young, Bryson DeChambeau. Right now you have Cameron Young -103, DeChambeau at -125. And in these head-to-heads, keep in mind it's offered 2 different ways. You have either just a head-to-head, you're picking one of these golfers, and if they tie, then it counts as a push and you get your wager back. Or you can wager on what we call a 3-way market, which is very common in soccer, hockey, some basketball markets. But in that, you also have the option of the tie. So if they tied and you took one of the golfers, you would lose in that market. The benefit of the 3-way market is you are going to get a little better odds on those golfers. So looking at Cameron Young, he's actually +115 on the 3-way, where Bryson's -106 on the 3-way.
I just saw some breaking news that one of the stories we're going to have in the entertainment report was that Tiger Woods' girlfriend had filed a $30 million lawsuit, but I just saw it scroll across there that she has dropped said $30 million lawsuit. So I'm assuming he's writing her a check of some significance to go away, so he doesn't have to deal with her anymore. But or maybe he just maybe her attorneys thought better of it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, she kept trying to get the NBA listed, and she kept losing that battle. But
don't have odds on how much money Tiger's going to pay out to Erica Herman. Yeah, didn't imagine you would.
So another head-to-head that would have me interested is McIlroy, John Rahm. Obviously, two of the offers in the world right now. Minus 132, Rahm plus 104. So getting plus money Rahm versus McIlroy.
I've not been following him this year much. I don't know how he's been playing, but he's always going to be a guy that's going to be a factor.
Pulled off from where he was early in the year, but he's still one of the most consistent that I've seen since I've followed golf.
What else has been a hot market this summer, Zach, with football off? And I mean, I'm sure you're not getting a ton of futures wagers just yet, or I would assume that. But what else has been hot so far this summer?
Yeah, well, last week we had Wimbledon wrap up. That was a very fun event for those that followed. I think Netflix has done a great job getting at least my interest in some sports that I maybe didn't follow quite as closely in the past. They have that series Breakpoint that they released some new episodes that were featured around Wimbledon right before the Wimbledon. So that definitely piqued some interest. We had people betting on Wimbledon and, 1 versus 2 in the finals with a great championship match. Can't ask for much more than that. So tennis, that's something that's year round on the board, pretty much 5 days a week, multiple tournaments going on. And then baseball. We're through the All-Star break. So this is the time where baseball really starts to get serious. I'm not saying the first 90 games or so don't count, but this is when I feel like you can really start to zone in on which teams are really playing to make the playoffs, playing for that World Series opportunity. So those markets are on the board still. You have World Series winner. Braves are your favorite at plus 325. The Dodgers and the Rays are your second choice at plus 500. And then you have the American League, National League winners, as well as each division. And then you can still wager on who you think in terms of league is going to win the World Series. So American League, currently even money with the National League at minus 124.
Can you bet on whether the Cardinals will have the worst record in the National League?
That's not on the board, but I have to go work on that one.
Yeah. Well, again, the Cubs aren't exactly lighting things up, so I can't really talk too much, but they are certainly well ahead of the Cardinals. And the Cubs did make up a game yesterday. Boy, how about Cincinnati? They're in free fall right now.
They were playing well for a while, too.
Yeah, really well. I mean, De La Cruz has been one of the most exciting guys in the league this year, and then I think they've lost 6 in a row now.
Yeah, it is. It is. This is the time of the season that I really enjoy it. It's where you will start to see more interest in baseball. In fact, we got a game in 15 minutes, Guardians and the Pirates. Guardians are minus 143 favorites in that one. And then we have some other day games. So really fun on Wednesday when they give us some of that action in the day. But you also have Formula One, Justin. I know that's your favorite.
I hung out with Chris Kane yesterday a little bit. Chris is a diehard F1 guy. In fact, they host F1 parties in their neighborhood. So I still have not caught the bug, but I appreciate those who are passionate about it. And obviously none more so than you, my friend.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, Red Bull and Verstappen have made it maybe a little boring this year. They've been so dominant in performances. I think Red Bull has won every race with Max winning all but 2 of those. So, but there's still a lot of markets there, F1, whether it's the qualifications, the practicing, some of the little more unique markets, driver to retire first. So those are on the board. And then, as you said, futures. I mean, football season, less than 50 days away from our first Arkansas game. So all those are on the board. Arkansas to win the championship, 150 to 1. SEC, they're 100 to 1. And the SEC West, they are 15 to 1. So, it looks like an uphill battle, but as we all know, we play in the toughest conference and the toughest division in college football. So it is expected. NFL on the board, futures there. Chiefs still your favorite at 600. Eagles second choice at 700. And for NFL, all the futures you could imagine are on the board, from player props to divisional winners to win totals to make the playoffs. So a lot there. We could honestly spend an entire show, Justin, going through all the markets for NFL right now.
Well, we're not quite there yet, but it won't be long, and we will be begging you early August maybe to try to do that. So we'll get you on, and we will certainly go through all those futures markets with the NFL. But anyway, well, thanks for the heads up on the Open Championship. Again, Oaklawn Sports. You can download the app. You can go online to oaklawnsports.com. You can go down to Hot Springs and hang out with Zach and his coworkers and actually wager on site. And it's a great place. And I'll tell you, I know you guys are 24/7, Zach, but the TV coverage on USA starts at 3 a.m. So you might get some early birds or night owls. I don't know what 3 a.m. is. It's the middle of the night. Like that's not. I don't know if that's. I stayed up real late or I got up way early, but that's about as middle of the night as it gets.
Absolutely. Well, we've got a game plan. We'll have it on the TV. So if you want to come on in and watch it, I might not be there with you, but we'll have it on the TV.
I hope you aren't. You need to get some rest, my man.
Yeah, absolutely. But, to piggyback on what you said about the app, don't forget, if you have not signed up yet, please do so. The first wager insurance is still available. That's up to $250 on your first bet if it's a loser. Details on oaklawnsports.com. Also, if you're not aware, debit and credit cards are now accepted. So there are other options to get your deposits into Oaklawn Sports. And then in addition, some other things going on in Oaklawn, karaoke. If you did not know, Fridays in the main line, 7 to 10 p.m. That's been a big hit. So that will continue. We are doing pool parties in July on Saturdays from 8 p.m. to midnight, and they are themed. I'm not 100% what this week's theme, but I know there's a Barbie theme coming up at the end of the month. So, yes, it's going to be a lot of fun. 21 years or older for those pool parties. It is a $10 cover charge for women, $20 for men. Those have been a big hit, so I expect those to continue. And then we have a brunch in the Bugler on Sunday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., and with that comes free valet. So if you have not had brunch in the Bugler yet, I highly recommend you check it out Sunday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Take advantage of that free valet and come see us.
And the pool parties you said are Friday or Saturday nights?
Parties are Saturday night.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah, if you get the themes for the next couple of weeks, let me know and just text it to me and I'll pass it along to the listeners because I'm sure that's something they would be up
I'll
for.
get to the theme for this week and shoot it to you here shortly. But I know Barbie is at the end of the week to coincide with, or the end of the month to coincide with that movie.
Yeah, it makes sense because doing an Oppenheimer theme wouldn't be a lot of fun, would it? Although Cannonball, I guess you could say maybe would be sort of in line with that, but Barbie makes more sense. So
I'll tell you, I want to see Oppenheimer more, but I think the theme for Barbie will be more fun at the pool party.
100%. Nailed it. All right, buddy. I appreciate the time. That's Zach Gillum down at Oaklawn on the Brandon Moving and Storage Hotline. We will talk again soon, my man.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
All right. Very good. Coach, ESPN says Arkansas 6.9 wins. You going over or under?
Last week I had us pulled up looking at that. By the way, on golf, I'm going to play that just for fun. The two Camerons. Remember last year at the end of the British Open, how they were in that final one and they were battling it out, and the last hole he drove the green.
I don't remember this.
72nd hole at the British Open. Yeah, the Cameron Young and Cameron Smith.
Okay.
We're going at it. I like both of them this week in their head-to-head matchups. You
Okay.
get plus 110 for both of them. So just for fun, just for lunch money.
And then what do you think about so Arkansas is non-conference? Like you've got to sweep your non-conference games if you're Arkansas this year, right?
Yeah, I'm going to pull their schedule back up just because I was looking over it the other day. There it is, schedule. And if you go down it, and we've done it before, but I mean, there's some games they're going to win no matter who's coaching them, right?
Yep.
I mean, they're going to beat West Carolina. They're going to beat BYU.
Mhm.
People think I'm not worried about BYU anymore.
Yeah.
LSU is going to be tough. I'm going to give the sure wins. A&M is going to be tough. I think they're going to be really tough with Bobby P down there.
Yeah.
I mean, like if Jimbo lets him do his thing,
that's the question.
Man, if he does though, and I think he will because Bobby Petrino he's a very alpha. If he doesn't, there's going to be trouble.
Well, that's
I mean,
the
a lot
thing.
of trouble.
That's the big question. Will they coexist well? Because they were asking Jimbo about who's going to call the plays and how's the dynamic going to work, and he gave kind of a wishy-washy answer and acted like he kind of bristled at it.
Well,
like, what'd you expect?
That's because he's making $1 billion. He don't want anybody else to think. He hired somebody in to just come in and right this ship.
Right.
He wanted somebody to help him right this
Well,
ship.
it's
But
his
he
ego.
brought him in, and don't make any mistake about it. He was asked and told, you're going to have to do this.
Right.
And he's gonna succumb, and Bobby Petrino's gonna call the plays, and Texas A&M's gonna be a 4. They're my dark horse. I don't know what they are to win the national championship.
Oh, it's $1 million.
But they're worth flipping some money on just because he is he is so good on offense. I mean, I've spent too much time with him. He's amazing. But anyway, getting back to that, we're gonna be getting back to this. We're gonna beat Kent State, West Carolina, BYU are for sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you look up FIU is for sure.
Okay, so that's
That's
4. Your non-con game.
Missouri at home.
Got it, right?
Can we count that as a for sure?
No, because Missouri has had Arkansas's number for
They
whatever
have.
reason.
I'm still counting that one as I'm gonna
5.
count that as a half.
You have to have Mississippi State.
You have to have Mississippi State. Between those two, we're winning 1 for sure. There's
Yes.
5. Alabama, I mean, gonna have to play well. Florida, who the heck knows? That coach is
Chance, though.
very good. We've got a chance, but that coach is very good. I'm anxious to see what he can do in his next year. Auburn is a coin flip too
Sure.
to me. God, they've got a good number. I mean, that is a very good number. It's a no bet. But if I was going to bet it, I was going to bet I'd have to bet the over.
Yeah.
I would just have to.
I think you've got to win Mississippi State and Missouri.
Yeah. You've got to win. Yeah.
That puts you at
for sure.
6, and then if you can find one more, which God, I hope they can.
Surely out of LSU, A&M, Ole Miss, Alabama, Florida, and Auburn, surely you can find one more.
I would think so.
And if you don't, it's going to be a rough season.
If your guys are healthy and you've got the best quarterback in the league, or arguably the best running back in the league, or arguably,
Right.
A couple of really good pieces on the offensive line, and apparently a couple of guys that coach says are unproven, but he feels good about. You really don't have a whole lot of excuses. What do you think about the receiving group, and how much of an issue would that be for them? It's, again, kind of like some of the line we were talking about, right? Unproven, but some guys you're excited about.
Yeah, and another thing is bringing in a new OC. It's like wiping the slate clean. The problem is, if all the receivers wouldn't have gone to different places, and we wouldn't have lost those guys, now you've got to kind of wipe their mind clean of their old habits, their old nomenclature for their offense and all that. Now you bring in a brand new slate. So I think that's actually going to be, a positive. I think we might be better off, not because of the physical prowess of the receivers, but because we brought in a new OC and he's going to mesh with them a lot easier because there's no unteaching to do.
Gotcha.
So I think that's going to be a really good thing.
Let's take a timeout. We're going to go to the break, come back. Michael Felder will join us on the other side. Reed Lou Allen's also going to join us. We're talking about the Great Arkansas Beer Festival and the Rock City Margarita Festival, all under one roof. And we got to thank our great sponsors for that as well. Oaklawn, we were just talking to Zach, and they are sponsoring the event, along with Tito's Handmade Vodka and Mosquito Joe. So plenty of opportunities for you to come and try some new things, or maybe visit some old favorites. And I imagine the Tito's tent will be extremely busy again this year. Hornitos is the tequila sponsor, helping out the folks making the margaritas this year again. So it is just an absolute blast under one roof. And while the heat is burning outside, you can be nice and cool inside with a few thousand of your best friends. It's a great way to pre-party, too, if you're going to the show over at Simmons Bank Arena on Saturday. So we look forward to seeing you there, and got a DJ, all kinds of fun activities going on. It'll be a blast. So come on over and join us on Saturday. We'll talk to Reed about more with that. Speaking of, we've also got some friends coming up in the final hour from Ronald McDonald House. They are a beneficiary of the event on Saturday. So we'll get into some football with Michael and Coach Kelly hanging out. Again, thanks to the Little Rock Athletic Club. The Wizard is here. Wes enjoying his time off. I would say well-deserved, but it is. Who am I kidding? We got some unsponsored text line offerings and some Asher Record Live fan feedback coming up, too.
Obviously early in the year, your true team shows up at the end of the year. Who you have injury wise, what your depth does look like, and all those type things. I think the fact that it's our first SEC game, I think that will be valuable to us and them, obviously. But I don't know that it'll change a whole lot more than that. But I do appreciate the fact that that'll be our first SEC contest.
Sam Pittman talking about LSU, and it is a little bit odd. We got so used to having LSU at the end of the season and moving them all the way up to the front of the schedule. I don't know if that's good or bad. Kevin Kelly here. We'll get his thoughts on that. Reed Llewellyn's also here from the Great Arkansas Beer Festival and the Rock City Margarita Festival. Again, it is Saturday. It is Saturday. Do not miss it. Crazy people. What's wrong with you? What's up, buddy? How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me in again.
You bet. So, Coach, LSU early in the season, does it matter when they play them? You like it better? Does it make any difference to you?
Yeah, I like it better. I like it worse for Arkansas
Okay.
because, like I say, new offensive coordinator, young offensive lineman. They're going to LSU. It's a tough spot for young guys to go, and it's a tough crowd, tough spot. You can't hear. We won't have enough practice in that environment yet because none of those other games are going to simulate that at all.
Michael Felder coming up in a minute, who is he and coach are in the Mutual Admiration Society. It's not quite to the level that Justin Moore and David Basil have reached on the morning show, but you guys definitely are big fans of one another. So
Well, we think alike. It's easy to like them. It's easy to like them just because we think alike on so many of these things.
Asher Record Life fan feedback. Ryan says the best place to eat a hot dog rather than the ballpark or other than the ballpark is on my dock or pontoon boat on the 4th of July. That's hard to beat. Lynn says that was for the morning show, I think. Trey's been talking about this like mosquito-like creature that isn't a mosquito. I'll have to ask him about that some other time. This comes in from the 209. Odd. You listen to all these other coaches, and Pittman is just on another level. Nothing but class. Woo pig. I don't know. I never really thought the other guys didn't have class. KB says, did he just say girl fiance? I think he got a little flustered trying to tell everybody that Rocket Sanders got engaged. So she's going to make an honest man out of him, or he's going to make an honest woman out of her, however you like to look at it. Anyway, we talked about Paul Skeens. He signed the largest signing bonus in history by about $1 million, almost $800,000. That pitcher can use. We were talking about how Trey said he's got a great arm, and I said, well, he has two arms, but only one throws fireballs. And this person says that pitcher can use his other arm to drink a lot of fireballs with that cash, no doubt. Hopefully, he doesn't fall victim to the booze. I don't think that'll be an issue. These are great if you can find them, he says. This is a hot dog. Oh, it's Nathan's. They're Nathan's dogs. Colossal quarter-pound beef franks. Sounds good to me.
There's big Nathans?
I guess so. Reed gave us a curveball. Said the Sam's or Costco? Sam's?
Sam's, yeah, Members Mark. And I'll say, I'm pretty sure it's the Sam's version of that Nathan's hot dog. They're like the XL Members Mark hot dogs. Outstanding. Yep. I mean, I don't know how many people remember the hot dogs at War Memorial back in the 90s, but it was a different kind of hot dog. Like, it was the kind of thing that, I remember it, right? And so, anyways, these are like those, really good.
Happy Campy says Sam's Club has the best hot dogs. I mean, that is it's a lost leader for them. They don't make any money. We were talking about rotisserie chicken last night, too. Those things are basically as cheap as if you buy a chicken that's not cooked over there.
Right.
And they are really good.
Outstanding.
Like the prices at Sam's Club and Costco have not changed since the 1980s in terms of what you get in their food court.
Yeah. This from the 501. How was it getting to talk about WAP all day yesterday? That was WAPT. Sorry, WAPT is what you meant to say. That's the Women's All-Pro Tour, and it was great fun talking to some of the stars of tomorrow on the show yesterday up in Conway. They've got that event teed it up this morning at 7:30, and it's a 4-day tournament, and some of the great young golfers around the country are coming in for that, so it's great.
That wasn't what Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion were talking about in the song?
Also, we were talking about Scotty Scheffler being one of the favorites at the Open Championship. He, of course, was one of the guys that got his start on the World Pro Tour. Or the World All-Pro Tour, I guess it is. Or the All-Pro Tour. It's just All-Pro Tour, I guess, for the men, and the Women's All-Pro Tour for the women. This person's taken umbrage with one of my comments. Chili is not a condiment. It can be eaten by itself. So can chicken noodle soup. You don't eat ketchup solo. Get it together, Justin.
You can. It's just nasty.
I mean, I agree with what they're saying to some degree, but I do think chili can be both.
I think chili is you're almost breaking the rules, making it a condiment.
Yeah.
I think a topping's probably a better way to classify
There you
it,
go. It's a
right?
topping.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. If you can only have one topping on your hot dog, what are you going with?
Mustard, it's an easy one for me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
You can't buy, a Heinz bottle of chili and just squirt it on your hot dog.
Touche.
You know what?
Although
Heinz needs to get on the stick.
I was just going to say they have everything else out there. They probably need to send them a clip of this.
Let's talk to our food connoisseur / football star, Michael Felder, on the Brandon Moving and Storage Hotline. Michael, Coach Kelly has never eaten a hot dog. I think we talked about this last time you were on with us, and he's not celebrating National Hot Dog Day. If you only have one condiment to put on a hot dog, what are you going with?
I mean, hot sauce, probably.
Hot sauce. I was just going to say sriracha has not been mentioned, but that would be a good option.
Yeah, that's good. Listen, I'm from North Carolina, so we eat chili slaw dog.
Chili slaw
And
dog.
so-
That sounds delicious.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to make my own slaw now. We used to be able to buy Texas Pete chili, and it was hot dog chili. So I don't know who said it, but to say that you can't buy like a can or a bottle of something of chili just to put on your hot dog, you can't. At least we could.
Texas Pete.
It's chili slaw.
Why
There's Texas
is
Pete.
sorry, I was going to
Hot
ask why
dog
is
chili.
a North Carolina brand named Texas Pete?
That's just the name of it.
That's a
Texas
great
Pete hot
point.
sauce. You can get Texas Pete extra hot. That's just the name. It's from Winston-Salem, baby, right up the road, 90 minutes from me.
We've all had Texas Pizza, I think, but I guess I
Yeah,
didn't realize
from
it was from North Carolina. That is weird. Okay, well that's fine. I guess we'll call him. We'll call Michael like instead of like Carolina Michael, we'll call him like Pennsylvania Michael Felder's on the line. No connection.
You
at
know,
all.
you can call me New Mexico Felder. My brother was born in New Mexico.
Okay, probably won't. But I could for sure. Do you have a brand of dog you go to, Michael?
I like Stalin. They're really good. Ballpark, obviously influenced by Michael Jordan. Nathan's is really good. I like Hebrew National. But yeah, I'm a hot dog guy. I make my own buns. I don't make my own hot dogs. I make my own sausage, but I don't make my own hot dogs. And I'm telling you, Stalin's, Hebrew National, and Nathan's are probably my three go-tos. And then if I've got a lot of people coming over, I'll go with Ballpark because I'm just trying to be cost effective.
That makes sense. You make your own buns. I'm sorry. Come back.
Yes, sir.
Talk
I
to
make
me.
my own buns and then I steam them.
How do you make them?
I've got to. Here's the cool thing about it. You make your bread dough. Take that bread dough, you let it rise. After it rises, what you do is you cut it into little squares. You roll those squares up, and then you lay them sideways. You lay them steam down in a pan. Let those bad boys rise again. Then you cook them off, and they're great because here's the thing: they're flat on the bottom. Once you break them apart, they're flat on the bottom, so you don't have to worry about them falling over.
Tipping over.
And then you can cut that middle part out. When you cut the middle part out, you put that in a Ziploc bag, you throw it in the freezer. You save that to make your breadcrumbs for when you want to do something like chicken pot.
This guy's a genius. He's next level. All right, let's talk some football. So we just heard from Sam Pittman at Media Days.
Yep.
And he talked about a couple of things. He feels like the D-line's improved. They're going to try to play a little more man-to-man, be a little more aggressive, although he said that he did talk to his defensive coordinator about not going cover zero all the time because it makes him nervous. Talked about the portal and narrowing the window there, but how you basically have a 1-for-1. If you lose a guy in the portal, you got to get a guy out of the portal. And then he talked about a talented but unproven group at a couple of key positions on the offensive line. So all that being said, I mean, there's certainly a lot to take in and consider with Arkansas. The receiving core is unproven. Your tackles are going to be newbies. Those are certainly key positions, but you do have a couple of really good, solid pieces in KJ Jefferson and Rocket Sanders, who are arguably the best players at their position in the league.
Yeah, him talking about Rocket Sanders was pretty cool. Like talking about how much bigger he's got, how much stronger he's got. I thought that was a really cool part of it. Obviously, everybody loves KJ Jefferson, of course. And bringing in 21 high schoolers and then 19 guys out of the portal, that's the thing that stood out to me between the Big 12 media days and obviously now SEC media days. The amount of guys that people are finding in the portal is wild. But getting them acclimated, and I think, Kirby Smart said this. Kirby Smart said we used to have to do a meeting in August to get our team on the same page, but now we have to do it in January. And I think Sam Pittman is on that same page, and we brought these guys in. They're going to be ready to rock and roll, so let's go. And this is going to be a really interesting year, especially when you look at the dogs that are out there and who's coming in. We got Oklahoma and Texas. I know we're going to talk about Oklahoma and Texas coming in, but when you look at what this looks like in real life, this is a year where we have no idea who's going to be the quarterback at Alabama. We don't know who's going to be the quarterback at we know who's going to be the quarterback at Arkansas, which is a leg up for them. We don't know who's going to be the quarterback at Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And so we know who's going to be the quarterback at LSU, but this is a chance to try to take a step up, if you ask me.
Who do you think's the pick in the West?
It's really hard not to say Alabama, but you know what? I understand the question you asked me. The question that I want to answer though is who has an opportunity to take a step forward.
That's really what I'm asking.
I don't think Alabama's going to take a step forward.
Mm-hmm.
So who can skip over them? I think Alabama's going to maintain. I think the question becomes, is it LSU or is it Arkansas? I'm not worried about Auburn. I know Robbie Ashford is back and I'm excited about that, but it's a new coaching staff, it's a new system, a whole new thing. They're going to have growing pains. Same staff at Arkansas, and we got the same staff at LSU. Who's the better coach, Pittman or Brian Kelly? Who can take a better step? And LSU, obviously, team that's recruited a little bit better, but this is an opportunity. If you're Arkansas and you do everything, you check your boxes, you've got an opportunity to take a big step.
Okay, but you do have a new offensive coordinator, and so how do you feel like Enos meshes with what KJ can do or will do?
I think I like him. I think that he's going to play into KJ's strength, and I think that's going to be the key. And you look at a guy, Dan Enos, who we've seen him kind of be the darling for a while.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen him kind of fall off for a little bit. But when I look at Dan Enos, I think the big key for him is he gets something that he hasn't really had before, which is the ability of a guy that's an accomplished passer but also can move. And so you think about Central Michigan, obviously. What was he at? Miami before? Like, you think about all those things, and the key is going to be, how do we blend? And this kind of goes back to Ohio State, when they had a guy like a Justin Fields, a more powerful Justin Fields, if you will. Speaking of KJ Jefferson, the key is going to be, how do I put him in positions to succeed, whether that's short yardage? And one of the things I think about a lot is JT Barrett, where I don't need my guy to run a lot, but I do need you to pick up these tight yards. We saw I wouldn't be surprised to see them incorporate some of what the Eagles did in terms of that big push in the middle to get to clear short yardage so they can extend drives. And that's the part that I'm interested in. I think down the field, it's a matter of, can we get separation? And that's going to be the part that's going to be interesting. But that's not a coach's issue. That is a thing that players have to do for themselves. Because if you're not fast enough, you're not strong enough, you can't create separation, or you can't be open when you're not open. That's on the players to me.
Dan Lefevre is a guy that Enos coached him, right, at Central Michigan?
Yeah, that's it. What a name. Oh, my gosh. Wow, I haven't thought about Dan Lefevre. Because it looks like Lefebvre, but yeah, I haven't thought about him in so long. What a name.
He had a 3,000, 1,000 season. 3,000 passing and 1,000 yards rushing, and he had a phenomenal career. Almost 3,000 career rushing yards while passing for over 12,000, almost 13,000. So I'm not saying that Enos is going to turn KJ into a 3,000, 1,000 guy, but if he can stay upright through the season, the numbers could be pretty impressive.
Yeah. Goodness. You got that.
Went deep in the well there.
Wow,
this is Enos' second stop. It's his second time he's been to Arkansas, so we kind of talked about it, I guess, the first time around, but it's been a minute. So
yeah.
Last thing I want to ask you about, and we were talking to Coach Kelly about this earlier, and then the big question mark is, how accepting is the ego of Jimbo with the ego of Petrino? And so I can't wait to see, because he already bristled at the question at Media Day, Michael, and it shocked me because I'm like, what did you think they were going to ask you about? Your backup left tackle? Like, no, they're going to talk to you about your dynamic with Petrino, who's been a head coach for 20 years. How are you going to balance that? And who's going to call the plays? And he didn't want to admit that he's not going to call the plays initially. And it's like, this is going to be interesting. But if they don't get along, it could be so much fun for the rest of us to watch. It's going to suck for A&M fans. If they do get along, it's going to suck for everybody else.
This is one of those, like, they got so many issues on that roster. They got so many issues. I mean, this is a team. You look at it. Look at A&M. Look at, like, have you guys looked at that roster and looked at what their starting lineup looks like?
Mm-mm.
They got a bunch of guys. I like, what is it, Aeneas Smith? I like him.
Yeah.
And then we've got the rest.
Yes,
right?
That's right.
I don't know what this looks like. This is going to be, and Bobby Petrino and Jimbo Fisher, their offenses, and Coach, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they are so different because Bobby Petrino lives on levels. And that's something that I thought that helped him set up Lamar Jackson for the NFL. But he lives on levels. He wants to make sure that he occupies linebackers with eye candy up front. Then he wants to make sure that safeties have a problem with guys in the intermediate. Then he wants to make sure that that corner has to push deep. And I'm speaking from a cover 4 or cover 3 defense. And then you run them into a space where all of a sudden it makes it easier for the quarterback and double moves and those things. And Jimbo Fisher is someone that likes a little bit more precision. He likes to be explicit, direct. Ryan Day, those guys, they like to be very specific with what they're going to get out of you. And Jimbo's like, listen, if they're playing man, keep running. If they're not, Petrino's like, if they're playing man, keep running. If they're playing zone, sit down, and we're going to find you. And my quarterback's going to find you. And that's going to be an interesting element of the teaching here. And then we got Connor Wegman, we got Max Johnson. This is going to be a really interesting marriage, and we'll find out if it's successful.
I agree with you. In the different offenses, way different. Let's, like we said, forget getting along or not. If Bobby Petrino calls the offense, they're going to be way better. If he does not, they're going to be way worse. And they do vastly different, but I don't think Jimbo has a choice. I think he is under the gun, not just under the gun. I think he's been called in and said, hey, you're not going to do this. And that's it. And Bobby Petrino, not only do I like his offense better, he's the best. Yeah. He's probably the best at that moment play caller. What have you been seeing? Yeah. What did you see 3 plays ago that you can line up in that formation and find a guy, a linebacker leverage too far in or a safety leverage too far over and take advantage of that? And I think he's just better than everybody else at that. And that's going to cause some problems because I don't think there's going to be a fight in there. I think it doesn't matter when they get to the field. Bobby P's calling the plays, and they're going to be better.
Last thing, and I know we got to go, but the cool, like I would put Ralph Friedgen and I would put Petrino at the top of my list of guys that are sequential play callers where they set you up to be wrong every time.
I like it. Ralph Friedgen, I've heard that. There's another.
That's a long time ago. That's the old Maryland coach. Yeah. So Dan Enos was there. Maybe he picked up some Ralph Friedgen stuff.
Yes, no doubt.
There we go.
Well, Michael, enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk to you again here in a couple of weeks. And certainly the talking season underway. We appreciate that. It's nice to have that content for us. And Pittman now up on the SEC Network desk talking with the guys. So I'm sure he's having a good time. He's in his element now.
All right, you guys take it easy.
All right, see you, buddy. All right, we're going to get back to Beer Fest. We'll get some details on how you get tickets, what to expect. There's a lot more than just cold beer and margaritas. And we will let our buddy Reed fill you in on that on the other side of the break. Next hour, we're going to have somebody up from the Ronald McDonald House. Of course, they are benefiting from the efforts this weekend, and we're taking a timeout. We'll be back in a second. All right, welcome back. Wrapping up our second hour today. Kevin Kelly here and Reed Llewellyn's here from the Great Arkansas Beer Festival. I wish you guys were able to hear that. And Coach Pittman is sitting on the desk with the SEC Network crew, and they talked specifically about the receivers. And he mentioned a lot of guys by name, but guys that have not made plays for this team. I mean, you got guys like Bryce Stevens, who and Satania we've been following since high school as a track and football star. But a lot of guys who feel talented, but just aren't proven. And so it was interesting listening to him talk about them. And again, I think he said 7 guys he feels good about right now at receiver. So we'll see. Anyway, Ray, let's give the kind of the basics for those who are not familiar. Maybe they've never been before.
Sure.
And don't understand what exactly they're getting into at this festival. It is very much next level. If you've been to even a beer festival before, that's one thing. This is a whole other kind of animal.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's definitely grown into something pretty unique. So one ticket price, tickets are still $40 today. They're going to go up on Friday to $45. You'll show up, you'll get your souvenir tasting glass. And then from there, you're going to enter into the State House. We've got over 35 local bars and restaurants that are going to create their take on a margarita, anything from just the classic lime, all the way up to the weird and, watermelon jalapeno and just all kinds of other phenomenal flavors. So, you can pop along from one restaurant to the next. Maybe you haven't been over to Dizzy's, right? And you say, oh, I've heard about this drink that they've got, go over there and try it, see if it's for you. So over 35 of those, which is super exciting. We've never had this much of a turnout from our local vendors. And so very proud of that. And then kind of the other piece of it, of course, is the beer festival. And that really kind of puts it in a box, even in and of itself, right? So we're going to have over 100 breweries from around the country that are going to send product here to Little Rock, which is pretty neat. But beyond that, there's seltzers and there's canned cocktails and we've got Crystal Ridge Distillery from down in Hot Springs and, Old Smoky Distillery and some of these others that are going to come out and kind of create a pre-mixed drink or prepared drink for you, something that, they've been working on in the lab. And again, you can try it. And of course, like I said, the beer, we're going to have just about every variety that you can think of, will be represented there. And then, of course, something that we always say, if this is in a tap room in Little Rock or on a shelf somewhere, you're going to be able to show up to this festival and taste it. And I think when it comes to beer, there's so many different choices out there and so many options. And it's like, it can be a little bit intimidating. It's like, oh, we've got IPAs and now there's double IPAs and there's New England IPAs and hazy and so on and so forth. So I think it's a great way to come in and say, hey, like, let's try the gamut. Let's see what I like. And then, and do it all at once for one ticket price.
All right, we got to get after it here. Let's go. It's 12:07, and Coach Kelly's here. I feel like that break was an hour. Reed Llewellyn's here as well from the Great Arkansas Beer Festival and just life in general. I mean, you're more than just that, but that's what we usually have you up here for. So we didn't really get a chance to talk about it. 1037thebuzz.com, all the information there. You can get the ticket link there, all that kind of thing. You're in the midst of talking about all the different craft breweries. You got any off the top of your head who's new, like as far as breweries that have not been here before or have not been here in a minute?
Yeah, so if you'll buy me some time here, I'm going to pull the list up. And
pull the list up. It is Saturday. We start at 5.
5 to 8. You nailed it.
5 to 8. Tickets are $40 now. 45 day of.
45 day of, starting Friday at midnight.
Okay.
So get them done before Friday. Friday's payday, so we like to wait till the very end there. But yep, ticket prices will start to go up. And you've mentioned Ronald McDonald House coming in, and I know that we're going to have plenty of time in the second hour. You all will to chat with them, but I think it is incredibly important to point out that, the work that they do is something near and dear, I think, to my heart, and probably anybody with children. But they sent us a letter to say thank you last year for what we did. And they told us that we put, 1,400 people, in that house over the course of the year with our donation.
It's awesome.
It's a goosebump kind of moment,
Sure.
you pray that you never need those folks to help you out. But my goodness, when they do, just a blessing, for sure.
No doubt.
But yeah, so as far as new breweries, we're going to have a lot of the real recognizable names, that you've seen before, Abita, Bell's, Dogfish Head, all of the Boston beer companies, Yuengling, of course. But we've got a couple of new ones. One that comes to mind is out of Houston. It's St. Bernadette's. Pretty excited to see what they've got.
Never had them.
Yeah. So
St. Arnold's I've had, not St. Bernadette's. I wonder if they're related.
Probably is. Brand new to the market. Like, I want to say that this might be their introduction. I might have seen them on the shelf here and there a little bit. But I think being able to kind of talk about the craft breweries, Arkansas has, established, a handful of brands. You've got Lost 40 and Flyway and, New Providence up there in Northwest Arkansas and Diamond Bear. And we sort of experienced this craft bubble, when we started this thing back in 2014, and it was all craft beer. And now that it has plateaued a little bit, I think, in Arkansas's case, that's a good thing, right? Like, we've established some brands, and now, you've seen what some of these guys have come up with, the Flyways and the Lost 40s, et cetera. They've got just really phenomenal stuff. And I think that that's a result of not only these types of events and getting the crowd and people excited about new beers, but then being able to withstand that bubble, right?
We should have gotten Anchor to send the last of their product to us as they close down in San Francisco. That is the end of an era, my man. Anchor Steam was one of the very first craft beers I ever had, and it's a good one. It makes me sad that they allowed it to get to this point, and there's I'm sure some mismanagement along the way, or maybe it traded hands, and that's kind of what happens sometimes with these companies. But there's no excuse for a company like that with the beer, the quality they have, and the history they have going under. It's ridiculous.
Plus a really cool label, like classic. Like, I mean, it takes you back to the Klondike almost. That's cool.
All right. But basically, there truly is something for everybody. So it doesn't matter really what your beverage of choice is. I mean, again, Tito's in the house.
Yep.
All kinds of tequila opportunities with the margaritas. They're going to be all variant. And you've got how many? This is a record, right, vendors?
Yeah. So we're at 38 right now. We may have one or two trickle in. Last year we had 24, and we were super proud of that. I mean, that's 24 bars and restaurants from around here that said, yeah, we want to come out and do this. And now, to be up to where we are at 38, I think that says a lot about this event. I think you were kind of getting to it. There is something for everyone here. It was a beer festival at first, and we had a margarita festival at first. But, I've come, at least from the perspective of our vendors, to see this more as a trade show. Just a pretty awesome one, right? Like, we've taken the idea of this trade show where you can come in and display your product to the masses and, kind of learn about the market, et cetera. And we've thrown the party atmosphere over it. We've got Mike Poe DJing, we've got you and the rest of the Buzz crew emceeing, and we've got games and all these other fun elements to it. But at the heart of it, we've got customers walking in the door to try new product, right? So as a brewery or as a vendor, as a restaurant, I have what you want, right? This is exactly what you're looking for. You want people that haven't been through your doors to try your product in hopes to bring them back. And then from the perspective of a customer, which is what I am, I want variety. I want to try it all. I want to go to these tap rooms and I want to try this margarita. I want to try the one that the lady has at the table over there. And I want to know what you're working on in the back. And we can do all this, right?
Mm-hmm.
3 hours. And you and I talked about it off break. I don't know that I can go anywhere for 3 hours and sit around and have drinks and hang out for less than $40.
No, you can't.
Yeah, I know I can't. Unless we go to like JJ's for Happy Minutes and I crush Busch Light. But beyond that, it's not going to happen, you know? So yeah, I mean, like I said, it's 3 hours. It's a lot of fun. You get in there and I think all the time I look around and we're 2.5 hours into this thing. I'm like, oh my goodness, last call's, going to be here before you know it. And there's been nothing but smiles and love and high fives and hugs. And, it has turned into something far more than I think what we envisioned.
You do have some activities going on. What do we do, like Bago and stuff like that?
We've got Bago. A lot of our vendors are coming out with their own games, giveaways, spin wheels, this, that, and the other. So there's going to be a lot of new engagement this year that really hasn't been present in years past. But of course, we're going to do the bike giveaway. We've got the Stein holding competition with Samuel Adams and some of these other things that we've always done that I think are inherent with the beer festival. But like I said, the kind of the crowd participation, the game day, experience, if you will, is I think going to be better this year than we've ever had.
I like it.
Yeah.
Today's entertainment report is brought to you by Bell and Sword Gentlemen's Clothing in Conway. Check them out on Facebook and Instagram, or stop by Bell and Sword at 1016 Oak Street in Conway.
Jason Aldean under fire for the second time in a week. He was literally almost under fire the other day because he overheated at a concert and had to stop. And now he's under fire for some controversial lyrics. In fact, his video has been pulled from CMT. The song is called Try That in a Small Town. Those who haven't heard it, I didn't consider it inherently racist. Some people were saying it is basically tantamount to a lynching song. I didn't necessarily get that. I thought it was a little bit...
I think it's pandering. 100%.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, that you definitely know your base when you're singing a song like this. To me, it reminded me a little bit of the Toby Keith song after 9/11 about putting a boot in an ass. I mean, it's like
courtesy of the Red, White, Blue.
Yeah, you're peed off about stuff that you see in the world, and it's irritating. And you're like, you're not going to pull that crap in our town. And so I guess I get a little bit of the provincialism that people might be feeling with this to some degree.
Jason Aldean is also not from a small town. He's from Macon, Georgia, which has over 100,000 people in it.
Yeah. But again, you're right. I mean, this is his fan base. So I think some of the negative attention he's getting here is, a little bit excessive. Anyway, if you listen to the lyrics, and I listened to it yesterday after I saw the controversy and went back and listened to it again this morning. And I get it, but I also don't see it as.
It's not. Yeah.
I definitely don't think it's racist, and I definitely don't see any kind of lynching element here. But it does insinuate taking matters into your own hand. But I don't even think that's what the point is. I think it's going to we're going to stand up for our own, and that kind of crap doesn't go on in our town, and we're not going to allow for that kind of garbage. So I get it. But you're right. It is very much a pandering song. There's no doubt about that. All right. How about we go to the other end of the spectrum? I don't know that Jason Aldean and Tupac would end up on a song together, though we've seen a lot of interesting combinations.
Pokemon and Lil Durk did.
There is no doubt. That was a surprising one, huh? Well, it's amazing to me. Sometimes we'll be like, oh, we just found this new species of snail. And I'm like, how long have we been here? So this is one I was like, same thing. I'm like, oh, we're getting new leads in the Tupac case. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that is cool.
The Vegas Police Department said in a statement that the search on Monday was conducted in Henderson, but they wouldn't say whether a suspect has been identified. It is definitely connected to the Tupac murder. So I don't know what's going to come out of this, if anything, but it is amazing to me that we are still getting new leads that are being investigated by the Las Vegas Police Department in Tupac's death.
Assuming he's really dead.
Right. I'm going to go with the fact that he is.
Yeah, that's a big assumption.
Right.
Him and the king.
What would be, yeah. Boy, what a legacy. Old Elvis Presley. We found out last week that Priscilla died of a
obstructed bladder or something like that?
Obstructed bowel.
Okay.
So I'm like, boy, a couple of really embarrassing. Again, dying anyway is not fun or cool, but it's a tough way to go out. It sucks.
Yeah.
Their bowels they just pass it through the genes.
It's
not great bowels.
I'm really glad David's out of the state. If he heard that, he'd really be upset to hear that. Okay, this is something I'm not familiar with. I guess maybe I've heard of this before, but I didn't know it had a term. A North Carolina teen who tried to use a skip lagging hack on a booked flight to New York City on American was hit with a 3-year ban by the carrier. Do you know what skip lagging is? Skip lagging is, let's say you're in Miami and you want to go to North Carolina, but it's cheaper to book a flight to New York that stops in North Carolina. So when you get to North Carolina, you get off the plane and don't get back onto your flight to New York.
Yeah.
So the 17-year-old got detained recently at the airport in Gainesville before boarding a flight to New York with a stopover in Charlotte, where he planned to disembark. Purchasing a ticket without intending to fly all flights to gain lower fares, is a violation of American Airlines terms and conditions.
I didn't know that would be an issue.
You're outsmarting the system, and I'm one butt you don't have to carry from
Do
A
they
to B.
realize it's saving them money if people do it?
Yeah.
That for they can number one, standby could get on. Number two, that's less weight, it's less gas use.
Absolutely.
They get 50 people that do that.
Yeah.
Hey,
One less bag of peanuts, one less Coke, the whole 9 yards.
They're mad because people are saving money in the initial ticket price, and it doesn't make any sense at all.
No
you
sense.
should not be able to fly 2 legs cheaper than you can one, but that's the way it is.
Yeah. Also, he's paying for the full trip, right? Like they got
He
their
is.
money. What's the problem?
if they were one person, I'd say that's a personal problem. That's your stupidity for setting it up where it could be managed like that. What do you expect the guy to do?
Yeah.
I mean, he can do it cheaper. No, honey, I'm going to pay more so I don't have
So-
to jet lag or whatever you can skip lag.
Yep.
Let's say you're flying a 2-part, you go to Charlotte, and something crazy happens. Like, oh, I need to get off the plane. I need to go back. That's an issue?
That's different. I
That's
think
intentional skip lagging as opposed to you had an emergency.
Yeah.
But he should have walked up and said, hey, sorry, I'm not going to be able to stay on the plane.
Yeah, I've got an
Hey,
obstructed
no
bowel.
problem.
There we go.
I wonder which executive sat around though and thought, you know what, this should be a rule. I don't want people to do this.
Yeah, I don't know how it can
And not
be
just
illegal.
that, but this is going to be great PR when this comes out.
I took a bus once and we stopped at a place, and I mean, it could have been my destination. I could have gotten off there and they would have never noticed or been. I mean, that's not really on them. Miranda Lambert's been in the news a little bit. If you haven't heard, she basically called out people who were taking selfies during her concert the other night. And apparently these women spent thousands of dollars on their tickets to be up front. And I'm like, you know what? First of all, I don't know why you're trying to commemorate a Miranda Lambert concert, let alone why you're spending $1,000
Because they
to go
spent
see her.
$1,000 on it. They
Yeah, you're dumb.
commemorate it.
You're too stupid to live anyway.
I don't have an issue with somebody. They're taking a selfie in the middle of the show. Who cares?
I think if she's sitting there doing a show though, and they are just taking selfie after selfie after selfie. Here's my thing too: you want to do it while she's talking to the group or whatever, that's fine. But to do it while she's singing, it does bug me. I hate going into concerts and seeing people who will film the entire concert. I will get a snippet here and there to share on social media, typically to promote the show or usually the venue that I'm at. So whether it's Simmons Bank Arena or it's the Rev Room or Stickies or whatever, or the Hall. But I mean, I'm not going to film the whole concert. And it's like, you're not experiencing the event the same way. Put your damn phone away. It's annoying. And I get it. But also, it's not really up to the artist. If they're not like flashing, you know, if there's no flash of the phone, to me, it's not a huge issue.
I guess we don't know the whole story. Like if they were on their phones the entire show and Miranda just saw it the entire show.
Well, the women have
then
been
that'd be
found and spoken out, and the selfies have been shown, but I don't know.
But if it was just like 1 or 2 selfies, who cares? Let it go.
Yeah, I agree. And to stop your show in the middle of it is, you know.
In mid-song.
I mean, I've told people next to me, I'm like, turn your light off. Like they're videotaping from the upper deck. Yeah. And I'm like, your video light is doing nothing except annoying the guy in the front of you. And if I was in the row in front of him, I would have turned around and said something immediately. But this went on for like a minute. I'm like, you got to turn your light off.
Yep.
First of all, it's annoying for me, and I'm next to you. You're shining it right in this guy's head. I'm sure he's not enjoying it. Just be self-aware. Like, there's a way to do it. And I think that's the biggest issue, whether you're taking selfies by the stage or you're videoing from the second deck. Be aware of the people around you and know whether or not you're annoying. The other thing is turn your brightness all the way down on your phone if you're going to video. You can watch it later, and it bothers other people. It's annoying because I'm like sitting behind 5 rows of people who all have their phones up videoing the concert that I'm trying to watch.
Yep.
You jerks. It's going to get to the point where I'm not going to quit going to sporting events. I'm going to quit going to concerts. I like it.
You seem like intense about this.
Well, I'm passionate about live music, and it pisses me off when you take away from somebody else's experience.
What if they're pissed off because you're not filming the concert?
That doesn't even make any sense.
It does. There's 2 sides to everything.
Not in that
They're
case.
like, why is this guy paying for this ticket and he's not filming this, showing everybody he knows
It's dumb.
that he was there live?
That's stupid. I don't need to. Anyway, the Eagles are back on tour. They're calling it the Long Goodbye Tour. It has been the longest goodbye tour ever. I saw them last year at Simmons Bank Arena. I thought that was it.
I wonder what year their first real concert was, not at like a bar or whatever, like a first real concert.
Early
What year?
70s?
Yeah, early
Late
right.
60s?
So what are we, like 60 years?
Yeah.
50-something years?
Of course, they had the hiatus, right? They had a good 25-year break, and then they came back with Hell Freezes Over.
Well, they didn't get any younger when they did that.
Well,
I'm
this
just
is
saying
true. This
50
is true.
years.
Yeah.
Joe Walsh said something funny when he was here. He said something like, what did he say? Oh, he said, I liked being 20 in the 80s more than I like being 80 in the 20s or something like that. I don't remember what he said, something like that, but I don't know exactly what it was. But anyway, he was, they were good though, man. I was very impressed with the show. Of course, Glenn Fry, his kid is now part of the group, and they also have, who's the country singer that's married to Amy Grant? He's been touring with him too. Vince Gill. Vince Gill's been touring.
Oh, that's
It was
cool.
great. It was a great show. Hell of a show.
Vince Neil would probably do great.
Vince Neil would not do great with anybody. He's not even good in his own band. There's a band that needs to stop playing with him as the front man.
Are they still playing?
Yes, they're just did a new album. It's ridiculous. Ugh, puke. Anyway, and I love Motley Crue. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You really don't have a lot of strong opinions, do you?
Oh, whatever, Pope. Yeah, pot kettle. Listen, I just realized this. I didn't know this was a thing, so I wanted to share this with you guys. I just got my electric bill. It's the highest electric bill I've had since I've lived in my house for a year. This is a tip to save money. Fans in general, it says, does not cool the air off. They only cool you off. So when you're not there, like a lot of us, I think, will do it mentally thinking, oh, we'll keep the airflow going, and then my air conditioner doesn't have to work as hard. Well, according to this, that's baloney.
Yeah.
I think leaving the fans on doesn't cost you a lot, though.
Maybe not, but it doesn't. It also doesn't help you at all. So apparently, it's only the fans blowing on you. It's not about air circulation as much as it is blowing the air back on you.
Well, I want to feel cooler, so
Yeah, but when you're home, yes, use them. They're saying when you're
Turn 'em
gone,
off when you're
don't say I'm late. I leave mine. I'm thinking, oh, it'll help the airflow. Right. Doesn't work like that apparently.
Okay.
According to what I just read. Anyway, I just got a text from someone, and I don't know what they're going to tell me. They're going to say maybe you should have solar at your house. Yes, I know I should. Definitely. Thank you, Chris. Cillian Murphy is the star of Oppenheimer. He plays Robert Oppenheimer, and apparently he went through a very significant weight loss to get ready for the film. Emily Blunt, who is also in the movie, she plays his wife on the show. She says he had a monumental undertaking. He could only eat like an almond every day. He was so emaciated. He says, I was running on crazy energy. I went over a threshold to where I was not worrying about food or anything. I was so in it, a state of hyper something, but it was good because the character was like that. He never ate. He also said, I don't want to be silly and lost X weight for the part, so he's not saying how much he lost. Coach, in that same vein, did you hear the story yesterday, or you, Reed, or anybody else listening? Russell Okung, the former offensive lineman, he's lost over 100 pounds. Yeah. He is fasting for 40 days at a time, fasting water fast for 40 days at a time.
I believe it 0.
The weight loss is unbelievable.
No, I believe that.
Yeah, I've seen his profile.
I believe that, but I don't believe he's.
I don't see how you could live without
you
eating.
So
I agree.
I agree. No carbs, no calories. I mean, you're not.
Here's the deal. If he's got to be putting something in the water, there's got to be some.
Why would he lie about it?
What?
Why would he lie about it?
Because he probably got. I say probably. I shouldn't say probably. There's a million reasons you could. Here's one. You go in and have the stomach staple surgery, but you don't want anybody to know you had the stomach staple. Well, how'd you lose all that weight? 40-day fast.
Sure.
He's done it twice, though. I don't understand why you would lie about it. Anyway, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
You know the things people lie about that you would be like, I can't believe you would lie about that. I mean, there's so many things.
Yes.
And I guess here's the
this
deal.
is one of them.
Like fasting is subjective, right? Like is it really a water fast?
He called it a water fast.
And I get that.
Like
So
he only drinks water.
What drink powders is he putting in the water
What
each time he
supplements?
drinks it, right?
You have to-
supplements.
That's still a fast. I don't care if you treat your water.
Man, fair enough, right?
I don't think you can function for 40 with just water after 40 days.
As someone who did, I will tell you this, I did 27 days with 500 calories a day, which isn't fasting, but it's damn close.
Yeah.
What did you eat?
Not very much.
Yeah.
I think I could do it for 10 days. I think I could do water only with, obviously you'd have to have some kind of, you got to get salt pills or something. You have some kind of supplement.
You've got to.
Otherwise you're not going to make it. I would think.
Along those lines, what just popped up on my Twitter. Sometimes you think these things are listening to us.
I'm
you
quite
know?
sure they are.
The obesity rate percentage of the adult population of every country in the world. And of course, in the top picture, in the first picture, the United States appears. Where do you think it appears?
Where's the United States in obesity?
Where are we in obesity? Percentage of adult population only, not even child obesity. Just
say like 32%.
Now, what? That's pretty close.
Where we rank?
Where we rank?
I mean,
yeah.
I've got to say
We're
number one, right?
We're not one.
No.
I don't even know what this country is. Nauru.
Nauru. Yeah.
it's
Indonesian.
Okay.
Okay.
And number 2 surprises me.
Is that like an island
Number
country?
2 surprises me.
Yeah.
The Cook Islands. They're over there by Samoa and Tonga.
That's kind of
If
what I
you're
was thinking.
walking around on a beautiful island in warm weather all the time, wouldn't you want to look good?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess they're eating too many coconuts or something.
Well, I think that's, again, it's genetics.
The
Coach.
United States comes in after Kuwait and right before Saudi Arabia
Kuwait's got the oil money.
at the big number 5.
So does Saudi Arabia.
Fat oil eaters.
Fifth in the world, and as we are. And then it goes down Turkey, Egypt, United Arab Emirates, New Zealand, Canada. Glad to see Canada made the list too, since they're our neighbor.
there
you
you
know,
go.
Blame
Yeah.
Canada.
And
Well, you
you know
can't
what?
go outside for like 8 months a year. up
and
there.
Australia and Mexico. So our border to the north, and I mean basically North America. We're
Yeah.
just
We're
making
a
them fat.
bad
We're
influence
sandwiched.
on them, I think.
Yeah, a lot of those are probably expats from the United States fattening up those other countries. The Powerball was not won. It's going to be $1 billion tomorrow night. So
$1 billion?
$1 billion.
No, it's tonight, isn't it?
Oh, it is tonight. You're right. Yeah, it is Wednesday. Yeah.
I'll buy a ticket like once every 6 months. Literally, I'll buy one ticket every 6 months when it gets to be something stupid like $1 billion. I'm going to buy. If I can remember, I'm going to buy one.
I remember early on our threshold was $500 million. I was like, yeah, that's good enough. And then it started to get there like every other week. But
Yeah.
I'm going to buy one. Of course, you got to buy one.
Yeah, because $100 million is not life-changing money. That doesn't make any difference to me.
I mean, it's not generational, right? Like, but yeah.
Was John Rahm?
I think
John
it's probably
Rahm,
generational.
John Rahm said a month or two ago, he's like, now would $400 million more change my life? No, it wouldn't. I was like, God, that must be good to say that. I mean, you got a lot of money. $400 million more is not going to make any difference. to
$2
you.
million after taxes, and I'm never working it again in my life.
Yeah, you can invest it right. You can definitely
Yeah.
live off that.
Sure.
I would think so too. Unfortunately, nobody's offered that.
It's now time for Birthday Trivia in the Zone. Brought to you by Elia's Mexican Grill. Award-winning Mexican food made fresh daily. Take care of the misses in your life with a personalized tumbler from her boutique. Take exit 108 to Elia's in Morrilton.
All right, 6611037. Let's get a pair of tickets away to the beer festival.
Excellent.
Shall we?
Please.
Come on, it's an $80 value. Let's go. I mean, it's a great people watching event too.
Oh my gosh, some of the best people watching.
Plus, you get a couple drinks and some people. It's just like being at a bar with 4,000 people.
Yep.
I mean, you might meet your future love of your life in there.
So here's an interesting story along those lines. I started dating my wife in August of 2009. She took me to the very first beer festival I ever attended. It was Little Oktoberfest in the parking lot of Dickie Stevens.
It's a good first date.
I'm telling you what, she was like, hey, I know about this thing over here. I'm going to get us tickets, and the rest is history.
Wow. Good work.
Yeah.
661-1037. We got people. Joe is going to be with Reed. Christian, you got Brooke, and Eric, you are represented by Coach and Graham. Get your act together, G.
Thank goodness we've got Graham today.
Instagram.
Nice.
It's her nickname around here. I just made it up.
That's good. I like it.
Yeah. All right. Let's
like
go.
it?
That's my actual Instagram.
Instagram?
Yeah.
Oh, it should be.
I didn't actually know that.
Yeah.
I think you saw it.
I
You
swear
in
I
this
didn't.
40-day. You in this 40-day fast. You didn't see it.
You want to do a fast off? Let's see who can go the longest without eating a morsel of food.
I'll go 23 hours.
Whatever.
What? I can go 23 hours.
You can do
I
3 days.
23
Yeah, I
hours
can
every
go
day.
You do 3 days standing on
Oh,
your
I
head.
can do 3 days easy. I don't want to do 3 days.
Yeah.
I was going to say you could easily do
I
over
think
a
so.
day.
I think science says the body can actually go something in the neighborhood of 20 days without food. Like truly, like desert island, if you have fresh water, because it's 3 to 5 days without water, but I think it's over 20 days no food.
I have a lot of fat storage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
That goes quick though. You ever watch Naked and
Afraid?
Afraid?
Alone?
It goes away quick.
Have you seen?
I mean, quick.
So have you seen the pictures of Okung though?
Oh, he looks awesome.
I'm gonna
He
look
looks
the guy
amazing.
up.
It's amazing. And you know how a lot of people that lose 100 pounds, how saggy their skin
Oh
gets?
yeah.
He looks good. Like his skin is tight. Like he looks healthy. Actually, he's a little thin now. Like I think I can
Yeah,
whip him
so
now.
so he is thin.
He
How
is
about that?
really wafy looking though now. Now he's like maybe went a little overboard.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the largest offensive linemen, right? Like
Yeah, he was a huge
6'7", 350 pounds,
Yeah.
like legit, huge human being.
His arms are smaller than mine now.
He
Like,
doesn't even look like a football player.
No, he
Or
doesn't.
or certainly not a lineman.
No, he looks like a guy who is.
Yeah, look at
Oh,
this.
wow.
Yeah, I
Right?
just pulled up the picture.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
guy looks like
It's incredible.
If you were going to tell me that guy, like nobody's going to say
he doesn't
football.
look like one of the people on the list of countries. Called out a while ago.
Right? No. He's trying to help the overall.
That was him
cause.
before.
Yeah, see, there you go. That's a mountain of a man right there.
Yeah.
right?
You know, I coached Jonathan Lewiggs at PA, and he went to Arkansas, won the Remington Award and all
Yep.
that. He lost 100 pounds pretty quick. Has kept it off. You know, he weighed 305, 310 when he played for Arkansas. Now he's like 205,
It's not that
215.
uncommon.
You
I've
see
had
that a lot, like Joe Thomas for the Browns.
buddy. I had
Yeah.
buddies. Yeah, I had guys that I went to college with did the same thing. They would be their offensive lineman 315, and then now they're like 220.
Man, I played at 350, and I'm about 270 right now. You know, I mean, which is not 100 pounds, no doubt, but it's a significant.
That's a significant
drop.
amount. Yeah. All right, let's go.
Where's the skin on this guy?
That's what I said.
I know. It's
It's
They
amazing.
tucked it in with the tummy belt or whatever.
All right. He didn't say anything about surgery, so I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I guess I'm naive. All right, this guy is an actor who I haven't seen in a minute. He was in some classics though. Top Gun, never heard of it?
Tom Cruise.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Well, I've seen Tom Cruise in a lot of stuff lately.
Fair enough.
In fact, I'm going to see the new Mission Impossible tonight.
That'll be good.
I fell asleep halfway through 6 last night. It is the same story for like 2 hours, and they just run around and do the same. It felt like a Fast and Furious movie, but I'll watch the second half of it before I go tonight. He was ER, Dr. Mark Green. He was on Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh God, I know who you're talking about. I don't know his name.
Really? I'm surprised.
He's got a goatee. He's got a goatee,
He
little
was
glasses.
Goose
He
in
was
Top
Goose
Gun.
in Top Gun. Yeah,
No, I don't know his name.
Me neither.
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards.
I only know the basketball player.
Exactly. Yep.
Goose is 61. This guy is a guitarist. I don't know. I assume they're in the Hall of Fame, probably at least once, for this band. And let's see here.
Pete Townsend.
No. His last name is a month.
January, February,
Brian
March,
May.
April, May.
Brian May. That's right, Christian. How old is Brian May? Reed.
78.
No. Christian?
Brian May is 74.
No, Coach.
73.
76. Reed, what'd you say? You have that?
8.
Yeah.
I think I got it.
No, I said
74?
74. So
No
it's a
point.
tie.
Okay.
No point awarded.
There we go.
This guy is a former professional boxer who has also been an activist in his native country of Ukraine. His brother, also a heavyweight professional boxer.
Klitschko.
Vladimir
Klitschko.
Right family, wrong guy.
Oh,
His brother,
Right.
Alexei Klitschko. Oh,
Alexander,
Vladimir and
Nikita.
I can't remember his
happy
name.
birthday, Vitaly Klitschko.
Vitalik.
I knew it started with a B.
52. Depends who you ask.
Graham,
how
you're
you
not even
pronounce that
throwing
first
out
name.
guesses here. When we just asked for a name, starting naming
All right.
weird names.
Maybe you guys will get this one. He is an actor. He is in Doctor Strange. He plays Doctor Strange in
Benedict
Doctor.
Cumberbatch.
There you go. Very good, Christian. How old is Benedict Cumberbatch?
Benedict Cumberbatch is
Batch, not Patch. Whatever.
Does he get credit for that? He thought it was Patch.
Close enough.
It's Cumberbatch.
Was anybody else going to get it? Yeah.
Yes, me.
He is
It's in the Imitation Game too. How old-
51. I saw the invitation.
No, Coach. Batch. How old-
54.
What'd you say? 51, 54?
50.
47.
All right.
Reed went $1.
Looks over.
This former NBA basketball player, I don't know if he's one of the greatest busts, but he's an underachiever. Played at Gonzaga.
Adam Morrison.
Yeah, Adam Morrison. That's right.
He was a bust. He was
Okay.
third overall.
How old's Adam Morrison, Coach?
38.
Mm-mm.
I don't know.
I'm going to say 33.
37.
9.
Oh,
We're on the board. I thought we
Third
weren't getting
overall in
points.
06.
That's it. It's also the birthday of Lizzie Borden, who I'd like to point out was falsely accused, and she was also cleared in a court of law. But history will not indicate that. Everybody wants to blame her for the death of her parents. And a grisly axe.
Is she on Board and Milk, the cover?
No, that's a
No.
cow. First of all. Second of all, but anyway, I like to clear her name every year. She is from, what is it, Fall River, Massachusetts? She and Emerald from the same town. And again, I like to stick up for her good name because Lizzie Borden has been falsely remembered for murdering her parents with an axe, and she didn't do it. She was cleared in a court of law.
She for sure didn't do it.
It was a very highly public trial, but nobody remembers that, do they?
Nope.
She didn't do it, or she was cleared.
Well, that's exactly what I
The OJ
Yeah.
question. Right?
OJ was convicted in a civil court, so
But
she
he
didn't-
was, but in criminal court, he didn't do it.
fine. We'll go with that. But you know what? She did not have a civil case against her. It's not like her cousin said, well, you know what? We want to file a wrongful death lawsuit against her. Lizzie Borden. History did not do her right.
So, do you think she really didn't do it?
I think she really didn't do it.
Oh, I think she did.
What do you know about it?
I've listened to a podcast about it, but it's a very, I think she had issues.
I think,
Wasn't it? I think it was her dad and her stepmom,
yeah, I think that's right.
and she apparently hated the stepmom. And if the dad was about to die, then the stepmom would get all of the inheritance, I think. And so,
You know, I hated my stepdad, but I didn't axe him in his sleep.
well, yeah, but
Didn't say it never
I don't
occurred
think
to
you
me.
would ask anyone.
Oh, no, no, no. I mean,
Hopefully.
there are plenty of people like
None of
that.
us really know what was going on in that house.
That's true. Anyway, all I know is history should show that she was cleared. Anyway,
It was OJ.
Also, you're right. I agree. But he does have a negative on his.
He got a little.
Well, he
Little X by his name.
He served time for
It's like
stealing his stuff back.
What was his name? Robert Wagner.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh, that was the.
Is that the
what's her-
heart guy?
Yeah. Well, yes, but he's.
he was cleared, right? But,
Yeah. What's her name?
I don't know.
They were on the boat, and Christopher Walken was on the boat too.
Yeah, I forgot what her name was.
Oh my God, it's so bad. Danielle. No, that's not right. Who's the woman that fell off the boat and drowned, but they never found her? Oh gosh.
Nicole Kidman.
No, that's Kate Cape Fear was a good one.
No, wasn't Nicole Kidman though?
No.
I was actually thinking.
Nicole, not Cape Fear.
Judd, Judd, in the
Natalie
movie.
Wood, wasn't it?
Natalie Wood. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Natalie Wood.
No,
Ashley Judd was in one too, or the boat and the Double Jeopardy.
Oh,
Dead
good one.
Calm is the movie with Nicole Kidman. Did you ever see Dead
Okay,
Calm?
Dead Calm.
Billy Zane was in it. That is
Yeah.
a terrifying movie. Yeah. Anyway,
Those are three pretty good movies right there.
they are
Just named
with
off.
people just dying on
Yeah.
boats. Titanic. Ever heard of it? Also, want a happy
Bust.
birthday wish to Scott Davis, our buddy from Arkansas Urology, who turned 60 yesterday.
Scott's a good guy.
He's a wonderful guy. We'll be
Really
seeing a
good
lot of him. He's a Patriots fan like yourself.
Yeah.
We'll be seeing a lot of him during the fall. And then also Chris King, our buddy from Stickies in the Rev Room,
Oh,
celebrating today.
Fan
He
of
has
Chris King's,
been,
too.
he and Suzanne, largely responsible for bringing live music to our little burg for many, many years, and I appreciate them immensely.
Absolutely.
And when I
Did-
go
do
to
we know
shows
who
there,
won?
I don't videotape the entire thing like an idiot. What?
Did Graham and I win?
Uh,
win?
Yeah, it wasn't even
I'm pretty
close.
sure.
It was embarrassingly bad. All of you guys sucked.
You
actually.
threw it away. We didn't get to see the
Hey,
results.
Brooke, congratulations. We'll see you at the Beer Fest this weekend. All right, let's get our guest on here. We're going to talk to our friends from Ronald McDonald House here in a second. And I'm not sure. It's David, who is the, he's a manager of, ops manager for many of the local restaurants. And obviously there's a great relationship between Ronald and the house. So, you know, the Arches, it's all one big happy family, obviously. Segment brought to you in part by our friends at Gwatney Chevrolet. If you haven't been over there lately, what are you waiting for? Waiting on some new incentives, but the bottom line is most of the things we've been talking about for a while are still carrying over, like go a few months without making a payment. You go, you get the car, you drive away, you're happy, right? It's real simple, real easy. They've got good deals going on Silverados right now, great financing options, and they're giving you big rebates too. So go over and check it out. And also the new Colorados, I keep raving about these. I went out there the other day and they had a couple on site that are just fantastic. And the new body style is outstanding. And again, if you're looking for values, you're looking for great financing options and just great customer service. They've been doing it since 1957. It is Gwatney Chevrolet. It is the Gregory Street exit in Jacksonville. And you're not going to find a better experience when it comes to buying a car than you will there. Go online, check them out, GwatneyChevrolet.com. Real quick, Rocket Sanders at SEC Media Days. Thanks again to our friends at First Security Bank, Kaufman by Design West, and UAMS Health. Why can't I hear him? Weird.
It's a blessing, man. You know, I always give the praise to God, but it's a blessing to be here because I know a lot of guys want to come here and didn't have the chance to. But I'm just here to present myself. You know what I mean? Like an interview, present myself and present and talk about my team. You know, I'm good. You know, I'm not worried about any other back. You know what I mean? And I just feel like I got goals in front of me, and I know other backs as well. But the goal is to win as a team.
Yes, indeed it is. And we hope that they do win as a team. And I hope he ends up as the top back in the league this year. But we'll see. He's got some pretty good competition that Judd can get over it. Ole Miss is pretty filthy.
He's good. Man, we've got a stable of running backs this year.
Yeah, no, you got to love it. You got to love it. That was what some Coach Pittman said. They didn't really recruit running backs because they have so many dudes on campus right now. David Bartlett joining us. And David, sorry, we're a little behind schedule, which really is not that out of the ordinary. But the good news is we got you on, and I'm glad that we did. And we are talking about Ronald McDonald House. You are with Retzer Resources. You guys have the largest number of restaurants for McDonald's, and certainly a great relationship with the house. It is a long-standing relationship and an important one, and we're looking forward to raising some money for the Ronald McDonald House this weekend. So tell me about your relationship with the house and how directly related are you? Are you able to get over there? Are you able to interact with them some?
I haven't here recently with COVID and after COVID, but previously before COVID, we've actually been over there to serve dinner to the families that are living there and are staying there, and it's an awesome experience, and it's definitely something that helped motivate me to try to push the Roundup in our restaurants.
So how does that work at the restaurants with the Roundup?
Well, it's very simple. All we're asking for is change. If you come through the restaurant, you can actually, if you're using the mobile app, you could actually get on there, and there's a spot where you can donate $1, $3, or $5 on the app. Where you can do that on your own. But we're supposed to ask at the end if you would like to round up for Ronald McDonald Charity, and all you have to do is say yes or no. And if you do, we round it up for you. And a little change goes a long ways. When we really started pushing it in April, May, the 20 stores that I'm kind of keeping up with, we raised, over $20,000, and did a lot of stuff. Hot Springs was a big market for us. We had a couple stores down there raised over $3,000. A couple more raised $2,000, and then the other 4 raised over $1,000.
How many stores do you have total?
I mean, I'm kind of over 20 that I keep up with, but we have 105 total in our company.
Wow, it's crazy. And all in Arkansas or not?
No, it's spread out.
Gotcha.
Texas, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Tennessee, Louisiana.
So when you're over at the house, I mean, we've been part of that too. The Buzz has gone over and cooked dinner for the families. And we actually did it at the old house. We need to go back and cook for the folks at the new house. They have a much more conducive facility to preparing a meal than they used to. But it's obviously a great experience. It's a good team build too, for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it helps you get grounded a little bit when you see what people are going through. And just like the guy said earlier, hope to God you don't have to use it, but if you do, thank God it's there. And that's really the thing. When I talk to my guys and try to get them to just ask a simple question, would you like to round up? It's we're just doing our charity work. You know, we're trying to help people that need it more than we do. And that's really the goal, you know, is just to help and do our charity work.
Well, we certainly appreciate what you guys are doing, and obviously, I want to tip my cap to Reed and his crew at the Great Arkansas Beer Festival for raising a very significant amount of money for the house as well. And I think it's a worthy cause that I hope everybody gets behind. But listen, if eating a few Big Macs and giving a few extra dollars along the way is going to help, by God, I'm in for it.
Always.
Definitely.
David, I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. And we're going to see you guys at one of your locations here soon, or I guess a couple of your locations over the next couple of months.
Bye. We'll round you up while you're there.
I love it. Sounds good, man. Round it up. All right, buddy. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, sir.
All right.
Uh-huh.
All right. Take care. All right. Real quick here on the Asher Record Live fan feedback. Justin, what is your boy John doing on the SEC Mike podcast? The thing in his quote about Mizzou on Twitter making the whole state look bad. Look at the responses. On SEC Mike Twitter are hilarious if you are not a Hog fan. If you are, you might need to stay away. I understand content and going viral, but woof. I'll ask John about that. He basically said that, I mean, you got to tip your cap to Missouri because they keep beating Arkansas, even though nobody around here seems to like Drinkwitz. Maybe that's a part of it, but
I like him.
Okay.
I went and visited him a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Is he?
Knows his stuff. Yeah. He's not a demonstrative guy that people either love or hate. He's one of those guys everybody's like, oh, he's Drinkwitz.
He's the most hated guy in the SEC, according to our listenership.
Wow. Well,
On a
that's
Twitter poll.
yeah, we hate him because they beat us and they shouldn't.
Right.
You know, it's one of those deals.
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me of Andy from The Office, like so much. I can't see him and not make the correlation.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that. He's a very intelligent guy.
Yeah, he's
very
a dork.
very, very intelligent guy.
He's a
I
nerd.
like him. I want to give a quick shout out to I got kids at Kid Champion listening to us right now.
That's nice.
I know.
How old are they?
3 and 5 or 3 and 6.
I think that's tantamount to child abuse, Coach.
Well, it's good people. It's the Haley Hatcher's son, Haley
Oh.
and Walter Weaver's son, Henry. He's a superhero down there. He's awesome. And then Payne Harding, he owns the restaurant downtown.
Cash. Yep.
Cash, and his daughter Mila is there right now, and like she's very, very athletic girl.
That's cool.
She got that from mom, Payne. So don't act like
Well, I hope they're athletic if they're going to go to the ocean because apparently there are animals attacking, and it's not the animal you would expect. That's part of our What the Hell story. Stay tuned.
I like it already.
All
Good
right.
teaser.
Thank you, Coach.
hell, bro?
What the hell's going on here?
What the hell's the matter with you?
All right, welcome back to this edition of Animals Gone Wild, and this is a story out of Japan, and there are animals attacking people in the water, and it is not sharks. Sharks get a, well, they're not like Lizzie Borden. They do get a reputation they deserve in some cases, but it is Shark Week also, by the way, and I saw a shark eating all kinds of cool stuff today, including other sharks. I'm like, who does that? Anyway, over the course of one day on a central Japan beach, though, 4 people were attacked by freaking dolphins. Man in his 60s attacked a few yards off the beach. Man in his 40s suffered bites to his arm. Dolphins gone wild in Japan. Domo arigato. Total number of dolphin attacks, 6 this year. Same number that was recorded all of last year. So I don't know what's going on, man, but dolphins in Japan are going crazy. Yep. Tired of people making sushi out of them, I guess. And they're getting stuck in the nets, and they're PO'd about it.
That's it.
Nobody cares about the tuna, but we're all worried about the dolphins. Coach, this from Canberra, Australia. A pack of dingoes drove a woman who was jogging into the surf and attacked her in the latest clash between native dogs and humans on a popular Australian island. The 24-year-old attacked by 3 or 4 dingoes, I guess she couldn't count, while she was jogging on a beach. 2 passersby rescued the woman after the dingoes after they chased her into the surf using the same hunting technique they use for larger prey such as wallabies. How about 3 or 4 dogs getting a wallaby into the surf and jumping on it in the water? That's awesome. It's a cool tactic.
Do you think her friends call her a wallaby now?
That's a good point.
The dingoes thought she was a wallaby.
This guy says, my heart goes out to the young lady. He says, as far as dingoes, they're not puppy dogs. They're wild apex predators. Give them that respect. You better start carrying some dog spray or something with you. And this one from Hannibal Lecter, Youngstown, Ohio. A Plain City man accused of leading police, easy for me to say, on a chase at speeds of over 100 miles an hour while threatening to eat his wife's liver was sentenced Tuesday in court to just short of 5 years in prison. The judge adopted a sentencing recommendation by the attorneys. Andrew Morris, 54, sentenced him to 4 years, 11 months. Failure to comply with the order of a police officer. 3rd-degree felony, 1-year firearm specification, obstructing official business, which is a 5th-degree felony, and 2 first-degree misdemeanors of inducing panic and operating a motor vehicle under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Yeah. He said that he was apparently quoted saying he threatened to cut out his wife's liver and eat it while she dies. Seems excessive.
Yeah. Also redundant.
Yeah. An Australian sailor who was rescued by a Mexican tuna boat, see, tuna's not all bad, after being adrift at sea with his dog for 3 months, said Tuesday he's grateful to be alive. Now, I don't know if the guy had any food, but I'm guessing he was hungry when they picked him up. They found him 1,200 miles from land. And I guess he went sailing and had a problem with his boat and then ends up just floating out there. He survived on raw fish and rainwater.
Yeah.
Not Randy.
Well, he had 3 dogs.
And last but not least, exactly. Delicious. Very tender meat. Police who know things about... Please. I got to start over. People... I'm too stupid today. People who know a few things about Death Valley will appreciate this. There's a guy who goes on a run every year. He dresses up like Darth Vader, and he calls it his Darth Valley run. He runs a mile as fast as he can, and it was 128 degrees the other day when he did it. 52 years old. He does it every year, apparently, and he trains for this thing every year. Apparently, it took him about 10 minutes to do it this year, but I'm like, no, bro.
No, thank you.
Not a good idea.
No.
All right, there you go. John Neighbors is at SEC Media Days. And, John, before you tease real quick, you're taking some heat over your comments about Missouri, but we all agree you're right.
Yeah.
It's hard to admit that Missouri's gotten the better of Arkansas, but it's the truth.
Yeah, I have taken heat, but it's not the first time, won't be the last time. But I mean, I stand by what I say, and I didn't think it was really that controversial.
I didn't either.
It's like I was like giving them credit. I was like, they've won the games. Like, you can't take it away. But it's not because they've just been the better team as far as on the field. At least that day they are. But yeah, it's people are dumb. Missouri fans are dumb. Everyone's dumb.
Coach Kelly's a big fan about Eli Drinkwitz, so let's not call him dumb. But
yeah, he's dumb.
Okay.
He beat the Razorbacks last year.
Yeah,
he sure did.
And shouldn't
Doesn't
have.
make him less dumb.
Shouldn't have. That's what I think over the controversy. I mean, when we talk about it, we think we should beat Missouri every year, right? Even if we're worse, we think we should beat them. Our fans do.
John, what are you going to be doing today other than getting yourself in trouble?
Well, we are going to have a lot of great stuff. Coach Pittman got to talk with everybody. We got some interviews with Landon Jackson, KJ Jefferson. Going to have Pat Bradley on, Eddie Radosevich, Connor Guerra. It's going to be a loaded show. A lot of Arkansas flavor today, so it's going to be good.
Yeah, it was nice having them center stage today. So plenty more to come from those guys. Stay tuned. Out of Bounds and John's big mouth will be shooting off here for the next 3 hours. Stick around.